to tell me you were wrong. Swear my mind erased you the moment we were done. All out of me, you're all out of me. I'm finally free, it's all good. I'll be fine, and you'll keep on breaking hearts for fun. 1, 2, 3. I don't wanna see your face again, and I'll never let you near my friends. It's a shame that this is how it ends, but I wanna say thank you for nothing, 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 nothing. I wanna say thank you for nothing, 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 nothing. I wanna say thank you for nothing. Shame on me for trusting a liar with not done with you. I'm barely even started. I'm not done with you. I barely even started. I'm not done with you. I'm barely even started. And you won't even know what hit you when I'm done. I'm not done with you. I'm barely even started. I'm not done with you. I barely even started. I'm not done with you. I'm barely even started. And you won't even know what hit you when I'm done. I'm not done with you. I'm barely even started. I'm not done with you. I'm barely even started. I don't know why you look at me like that. You're so self-absorbed, I know that for a fact. Now I realize I'm better off without you. I'll be better off in no time. I'm not done with you. I'm barely even started. And you won't even know what hit you when I'm done. I'm not done with you. 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 I'm barely even started. I'm not done with you. I barely even started. I'm not done with you. I'm barely even started. And you won't even know what hit you when I'm done. I'm not done with you. I'm barely even started. I'm not done with you. I barely even started. I'm not done with you. I'm barely even started. And you won't even know what hit you when I'm done. I want someone who can please me. I want somebody who cares. I need a lover who never leaves me. I need somebody who cares. I've been searching my life, I just couldn't find it. The special someone to give me my heart. I've been searching my life, but then I found it. Now I won't let you out of my sight. I wanna keep this feeling forever and ever. I'm there when you need me, whenever, whenever. Keep this feeling forever and evermore. I wanna keep this feeling. I'm there when you need me. Keep this feeling forever I've been searching my life, I just couldn't find it. Whenever I've been searching my life, but then I found it. Now I won't let you out of my sight. Keep this feeling forever and ever. I'm there when you need me. Whenever keep this feeling forever and evermore. I wanna keep this feeling. I'm there when you need me. Keep this feeling forever and evermore. I wanna love her. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Ooh, look what you done. Took a living woman and turned her into stone. I guess I should be thankful. You gone 'cause you chew with your mouth full. You, I should've run once I figured out that you can't work your tongue. I guess I should be grateful. You're gone, I mean that shit was painful. Like I said, I'm really glad you're gone, but I'm sad to see what I've become. I was burning like a girl on fire, then you came around and put it out. You really made me think we were lovers. I let you in and underneath my covers. All I wanted was a hot girl summer, but I'm a cold bitch now, what a bummer. You really played my heart like a drummer, mentally drained me, kinda like a plumber. All I wanted was a hot girl summer, but I'm a cold bitch now, what a bummer, yeah. Who you think you are? Literally no one, if we're being honest. I guess you should be thankful. You got to spend time with an angel. You would think about me, dream about me when you're asleep. Then you wake up so empty, so cold, just like me. You really made me think we were lovers. I let you in and underneath my covers. All I wanted was a hot girl summer, but I'm a cold bitch now, what a bummer. You really played my heart like a drummer, mentally drained me, kinda like a plumber. All I wanted was a hot girl summer, but I'm a cold bitch now, what a bummer, yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Like I said, I'm really glad you're gone, but I'm sad to see what I've become. I was burning like a girl on fire, then you came around and put it out. You really made me think we were lovers. I let you in and underneath my covers. All I wanted was a hot girl summer, but I'm a cold bitch now, what a bummer. You really played my heart like a drummer, mentally drained me, kinda like a plumber. All I wanted was a hot girl summer, but I'm a cold bitch now, what a bummer, yeah. Ooh, yeah, yeah. You will never understand what I went through. You never were a good listener. A good listener. You will never understand what you put me through. And you never be a good lover. A good lover. At first I believed I was the lucky one.
Hello everyone and welcome back to another week of Challengers North. We're back for another time to bring you some more epic action of Valorant here in the Northern European region. My name is Pavlos and together with Ryan we'll be breaking down today's show. We've only got one best of 3 today as per usual on Thursdays, and we throw the chaos of the previous week behind us and we move back into normality. How are you doing, Ryan?
Yeah, good. Like you said, it was a little bit of a chaotic week last week with just having 2 best of 3s on a Thursday, playing on a Tuesday, games being postponed because Finnish people couldn't get into the game full stop, right? It's been like a chaotic couple of weeks, and after like Shanghai and stuff, we've seen Abyss and the like, so now we get a bit of normalcy before it all starts to get chaotic again with ISO changes and Neon and all that stuff, which for this week, it's just the usual that we've expected.
100%, and today's matchup is going to be NXT versus Requiem. But first of all, let's bring up what has happened the week before. Albeit all the chaos, we actually did get to see some Valorant, and to be fair, some surprises here and there. I think one of the biggest one is Formulation taking a map off of Apex, but another one is OnlyFans taking revenge against Sweet and Sour, and I think with the results we've seen so far, it's sort of shaking up the standings slowly in our minds.
Yeah, and we also saw like a Pina Orchestra versus Requiem. That was a postponed game after the first map, so we got to see that sort of finish out. And like you said, yeah, like Apex finally losing a map for the first time this year.
Yeah.
And a lot of like decisive series is for teams to be making playoffs and play-ins. But looking at like a Pina Orchestra and Requiem, obviously Requiem playing today, I think a lot of people were sort of expecting to see probably a Pina Orchestra take it, but both these teams are in a similar position of they're relatively new, they come through the open and closed qualifiers, and they're here to sort of prove that not only do they deserve to be here and not get relegated straight back down, but that they are contenders for playoffs.
And it was a bit of a revenge matchup, wasn't it, as well, given that Pina Orchestra was the team that kept Requiem back from actually qualifying to stage 1 of Challengers North. But now it's the whole comeback reverse sweep, a very decisive one at that. The fact that Sunset and Lotus closed out that cleanly for Requiem is good signs to show, and I think we made the verdict of that day to be that Requiem have a chance to play off and to be a strong contender. But the next match was Metasport versus NXT, a match where we thought would be a little bit on the closer end. But Metasport being restructured, renewed, we didn't expect them to come off with a win.
Yeah, Metasport really looked good this time. Like, it was night and day difference between them and, I guess, like the Yari team that had come into this Metasport spot in Polaris and had a really rough start, being 0-3 in the first, like, 3 officials that they had. But you have to take it with, like, a pinch of salt, a bit of an asterisk for NXT, that they were without their IGL Transformer. He just got his wisdom teeth removed, I think is why he wasn't around. I think so. If I'm judging off Twitch chat, which, you know, kind of like, you can give or take. You guys could say anything. You could say that you just went on an expedition to the moon, and I'd be like, yeah, Transformers are busy exploring the moon, apparently. You know, like
this. Yeah. The crazy stuff happened in chat, and I think one of the things I heard about from another time when Kayak was playing with Apex, someone said in chat that he had to take his PC to the embassy to get it checked. I don't know. You guys are crazy. You guys are nuts. But let's have a look at the standings, what this says about our whole story. Top of the table looks the same, apart from the fact that Requiem have surprised. Bottom end, NXT have been unfortunate to not have their IGL on a match where they needed it against Metasport, and then playing against the top 2 finishers of the previous split, Apex and Sweet and Sour, down at 3 losses themselves. Tied with 4 other teams, by the way. 4 teams that have that 1-3 score. It makes this to be quite a close stage, just like the previous one was.
Yeah, and the reason why NXT are at the bottom there could be alphabetically, but also there's an element of like head-to-heads as well. Like you got Metasport there that you've lost to. They beat Formulation in that first week, and I think for NXT that was the main gauge, right? Of like now that they were actually signed, they got off on the right foot. They had to play in with their coach in the first map. So it just seems like a lot of the games that we've seen NXT play, there's been something going wrong. A player's DC'd and they have to have their coach stand in. A player, their IGL isn't available, so they have to go without in a defining series for how successful this like stage can be for them, right? So it does seem like NXT are being shafted a little bit by some like just unfortunate sides of life. But you know, Requiem had to do the same, having CIR play. Sweet and Sour, I think, missed Affen for a little bit too. I think everybody's sort of struggling with some like life problems at the moment.
Sure, but I guess it's time to see as well the teams that we'll be looking at further along the line this week as well. Sweet and Sour taking on Apex tomorrow, and our big day, our long day, is over on Saturday as usual, with OnlyFins taking on Alpine Orchestra. Exciting matchup that is. Metasport against Formulation Gaming. Feels like we've got Finland versus Finland and Norway versus Norway sort of taking place, which is cool to see. All right, before we get into the matchup, any sort of words to say for the upcoming games? Any excitement that comes off by seeing the matchups?
You mean for this series today, or just the general
for this
rest of the week? For the rest of the week, oh, it's tricky. I mean, we sort of knew that this stage was going to be a lot more like competitive, barring like maybe Apex, but it really is shaping up to be super close between probably second place in the league and 8th. Like, it's such a cool region to watch. You don't have the big orgs necessarily yet, but you have a lot of potential talent that really is a case of when, not if, they get to tier 1.
Very fair, very true. A lot of young players looking to make the name for themselves, and this is the perfect place for them to do it. But let's get introducing our first game of this week. And the game of today, it's Requiem versus NXT, of course. We did mention their matchups from the previous day of this league. They both got themselves a loss and a win respectively. Requiem seemed to be on the up and up though, and I think NXT, if they are on their full form, full force, with all their 5 players, I think this is also their time to show us what exactly they can do this time.
Yeah, NXT, they won in that first series against Formulation, like we said. And I remember the interview. I can't remember who it was with, but they said, like, since we've been signed, we've been able to invest a lot more time and effort into improving, that their sort of scrim days have got longer. They're putting theory in. They're just adding a lot more to their day now that they actually have a salary behind them. And especially because they were just, like a map, a series win away from qualifying for playoffs last stage. Here, though, they have all of the bells and whistles. They have the fact that they're earning money off this, but it's still a rough time for them overall. For Requiem, however, their introduction to the close qualifiers was a dominant one. 13-0, 13-1, some of the teams that even were seen in this tournament in order to get to this stage. And they lost against Apex in their first week, and since then, it's been a green road for them, honestly. And the fact that they're competing and doing well up against these more tenured teams in Polaris, you have to remember the Sweet and Sour is their final game, right? So this is a team that not only is like gunning for playoffs and is likely to make it at this point, they could be the second place if they can keep this consistency up towards that Sweet and Sour series right at the end of the stage. They could be on for an actual crazy run.
I don't think it's the first time we're seeing Deck wearing a shirt. I think he plays his matches as soon as he gets off school. This is cool to see as well. The insights from behind the scenes. I think he's also one of the players where he had either his dad or brother come in and say, "Are you winning, son?"
Yeah.
You know, we've had that whole situation. But let's move over to NXT. We've already talked trip-wise for quite a while. Players we know and love well from the scene, from this region for the best of 2-3 years. They've got pop-up potential, but they haven't been able to prove it successfully so far with a series win, other than the first match they got against Formulation. And I think this is a ticking time bomb. If you delay getting wins, you're going to be in trouble and you won't have a chance to fight for playoffs.
Oh, for sure. Like, you know, the 2 losses that they've had have been against Sweet and Sour, which they took a map off, and then also against Apex, who teams are still losing against. You might be picking up maps here now and again. Also noticed that we're on the stream. That's kind of weird, like a Truman Show sort of thing. But it is that series loss against like Metasport last week that really just it tars them, and you have to like, okay, yeah, they're without their IGL, and they're just, it almost reminds me of, who was it? Was it RRQ in Pacific that they had a player like just have a stomach bug, they play up against Global Esports and they lose? If they had their full squad, they probably beat Global Esports here. And I think for NXT, it's the same thing. If Chanform is there, I think it's a very different series. The problem is, those series and even map wins, as we've already seen from this team in the previous stage, can cost them dearly. And this is another really hard series to be playing up against.
It is indeed, and I think this could be quite the close one and a determining factor. I think mostly for NXT, Requiem have built some sort of a buffer, but for NXT, I feel like this is a do-or-die situation. You get a win on the board here, you might just wave playoffs goodbye. It's not over, right? In permutations, anything can happen, but it does diminish their chances quite a lot. But let's have a look at the highest performers from both of these teams. Rex and Harambe, overall, in this league, they've been some of the highest performers.
Yeah, quite literally 5th and 6th place in ACS, which, you know, for Harambe, it's a great addition for him, right? That he's been playing in this sort of tier 2.5, tier 0.3 level for quite some time, and he's able to actually get the results and put in fantastic performances at a level that we've not seen him play at. But also Rex, to be able to put up these stats whilst you're 1 and 3, and even the series that they won, they're dropping maps that they're, I don't think, positive on any of the maps in the pool right now, this stage, right? Like, this is really been a torrid time for NXT when it comes to form, yet Rex is still within the top sort of 5 players when it comes to performance on Duelist, right?
And it goes to show that there is power within the roster itself, right? There are players that can do a lot of work. We saw in a couple of the clips as well. We've got popper factors like Bully, for example. Some crazy moments can come out from players like them. But it's just a matter of it translating on the match scoreline, which will go over time and time again. But I think it's time to talk a little bit about what playground these two teams might potentially be playing on, right? Because it's an important fact that you get to play on maps you're most comfortable on. And I think for Requiem, they haven't really shown too much weakness on many.
No, not at all. Like, you can be rest assured that we're not going to be seeing Abyss nor even Haven yet. We're not seeing Haven until a couple of weeks. We're not seeing Abyss until the playoffs. So right now it is just that normal map pool. Requiem actually vying for it must have been NXT choosing for Team B. Requiem taking out Split. It's been a good map for NXT. NXT, this has been their permaban. So the 2 maps that we do know are going out of rotation are the 2 first bans.
That is true. Waiting for Requiem's pick. It's going to be Icebox. It's a map that Apex got a little bit scared on, nearly lost to them on it, and then a comfortable win against OnlyFin. So Requiem, go figure that is going to be the selection. NXT also tends to be as if their pick any day of the week. They've done so against Apex as well, also drawing things a little bit close. But I am afraid that they haven't been able to close any maps on it, at least this season, sort of decisively, although it can be banned against them quite a bit. And then we've got Sunset as the decider, and I feel like Sunset is just the favorite of this league, full stop.
Yeah, this is probably the 3 maps that we expected. Granted, like NXT, they'd usually pick Split, but because it's been banned out, they're going for Ascent, which they picked up against Apex. Didn't go well. 13-8 loss, which is still like a decent result, considering Apex are pretty solid on that team. But we haven't seen Requiem play Ascent. But Icebox, however, we haven't really seen many of these 2 teams play at this stage so far. The few opportunities that we've seen from Requiem, for example, like, was when they played up against Apex and then ran like the Clove and the Reina and went sort of like balls to the wall with their comp. We have seen them adjust since, but overall, like, it's felt like it's been a while since we've seen either NXT or Requiem sort of play it normally, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I feel like watching the veto hasn't really changed our ideas of how this is going to go. I think this is still a very close affair, and any team, I think, could also win on their opponent's map pick. But I think a team that would probably do that is Requiem. Ryan, I'd like to ask you a similar question in a way here. You know, looking at the veto, is there a team that is slightly favored than the other? Because, look, when it comes historically, the season, performance-wise, it's Requiem. NXT are now on full force, though. Does that change things for you?
I think this could be like we've seen a lot of defining series, even over the last couple of weeks. They've kind of all blurred into one, but I think this is like one of the more important for NXT to get right. And it's not only just getting a win on the board to stop this loss streak, but getting a win against this team that is kind of like destroying a lot of teams right at the moment. Like Alpine Orchestra, sure, it goes to full 3 maps, but they did have to play in with a substitute for that first map, which, you know, kind of tarnishes it a little bit for Requiem. But here, like, the interesting thing about it is, you know, sometimes you have series where both teams like have the same map pool, that their bans are the same, their picks are the same. This is the opposite. Like, these teams couldn't be any different from one map. Like the permaban, I suppose, for NXT is Requiem's like most preferred map to play, and vice versa. So it does make the whole landscape of these maps really interesting because there's a strong favorite on all of them.
Well, Icebox is going to be our first map, and Requiem is a team that has changed their comp already twice on it. Obviously, the first time they played it was against Apex, and they had their IGL missing, and we saw a bit of Clove. We didn't see that the second time around, unfortunately, but yeah, it would be fun to see if that's the case. But yeah, NXT isn't the team that will do all that much changing in their compositions, but they themselves have switched things up on Icebox twice already this year. So yeah, it feels like they're trying things out here, and I wonder if Icebox are finally going to be happy with the Reyna addition to their comp.
I feels like it was a little bit of a last-ditch attempt to get stuff to work for NXT, I suppose. Like, for me, it's been a case of, like, they haven't played itself out of stage. That's the main thing. So it's not really a map that we've seen frequently, other than, like, against Apex and then losing against Sweet and South for NXT. So there is, like, Requiem have played it with the KO Gecko, the Keko, like the Gen G comp and stuff. Outside of them playing the Clove and that. So they're one-on-one on it so far. It's just more for me, I guess, for NXT. Like, they've played it twice and they've lost twice and they've changed their comp within a week. So it's almost in the like Alpine Orchestra camp of it's not working, so we need to fundamentally change it, which means that you're not like building on your maps at all. You're just starting from scratch and hoping to maybe sort of catch them by surprise and the stars align a bit.
Yeah, sort of the idea of what they were trying to do with their change, right? Like that catching of guard, but obviously you kept playing against Apex in that instance, so it doesn't make things that much easier. And Requiem now have got sort of the VODs to look up on as well, to make things that much simpler for them. But yeah, I think even though NXT have got new players themselves, Requiem are the new guns. They're the ones here to surprise, and NXT need to show why they were here in this league to begin with, because they were playoffs contention in Splits 1. They were trying to battle for that 4th spot up until the last week, but that performance is something we haven't seen yet this season, the split, and we desperately want to see that.
Yeah, and it's like a win against OnlyFins as well, like 13-6 with the KO Gecko for Requiem is a really good result. And then when you compare it to what NXT have had this stage, they lose against Sweet and South 13-3, against Apex 13-8, which was when they brought out that Jet Reyna. And, you know, is that going to work a second time around? Is that going to be something even worth anti-stratting? There's like a lot to go off, but it's a really good test to see sort of where NXT are at now after they've not really been able to play the map for a bit.
That's true. That's true. I will be bringing up the Agent Selects shortly, but also a fun statistic that I found is that NXT have been losing some of that have been one of the teams that have been losing most against eco rounds. And Requiem have been amongst the teams that have been winning most of, of the eco rounds. Like, the percentage there is something to behold. So I'm a little bit afraid for NXT here. Just a little bit.
Yeah, you've definitely got to make sure that you win the pistol, you've got to make the most out of it. And we've seen a lot of teams over the last week really not doing that. Not just NXT exclusively, but other teams. But Agent Select for Requiem, we do expect it to be the same. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And for NXT, it didn't work last time, but it was up against Apex. They're still going to continue on with this comp. I do worry about Rex's Reyna here when you're going up against the KO. How much that can be punished, how much there's going to be a fight for A main. And ultimately, like NXT, if they're leaning on this comp quite a lot, I want to see what the plan is on how to deal with what Requiem are trying to do.
It's a very old comp for NXT, isn't it? That double duelist setup, trying to put pressure on various sides of the map. Obviously, Rex isn't the one set up for success here, which is the interesting part to me. You know, it feels like Rex should be the player that should be set up to do damage, but usually that Reyna in this style of competition is there as to, you know, space builder, allow the team to sort of navigate around, maybe even early info gatherer. I mean, you don't have many info gathering agents in that comp, right? So you know, you got to weigh up your options here. So I wonder how this is going to work against Requiem's comp. That's proven quite worthy from the teams they played up so far on this Icebox.
Yeah, for sure. It's also worth mentioning, most people are used to it by now, like, we're not playing with new Neon, we're not playing with new Ice or even new Reyna, we're still on like the old patch, so you don't need to worry about anything there necessarily. We're not going to be seeing, I guess, Ice of just demolishing people like it seems to be over in the live servers. But like, it does give an opportunity, I suppose, for the future of NXT if they want to be a bit more like aggressive with their comps and sort of play less utility, more just aim duels and being able to get out and go safe. Got a lot of options right around the horizon. It's probably a shame for them that they're not ready for them to use right now.
To be exact, we are patch 8.09, so it came with the slight increase of the Brim Sky Smoke radius. Hasn't really changed much in the meta, at least from what we've seen so far, but all the other changes were just bug fixes, so nothing major from this one. But jumping into the next ones, those are the ones that we'll keep our eyes on. But without any further ado, never mind, I heard the music change and I thought we were jumping into the game, especially because I saw the switch of scene. But yeah, looking forward to seeing Shorin with his little dances today. He's been quite notorious with those, seeing a few cool setups, players getting readied up for this game. Harambe is in battle mode. He's got two default modes. One is laid back and one is right in front of his screen. It's time to rock and roll on Icebox.
It literally is the meme.
Series.
It is that meme of just sitting forward with the controller when it gets, you know, a little bit more serious. And it is a serious series for both of them. For Requiem, it is really just like, it feels if they get this, they're probably confirmed for playoffs unless something horrible goes wrong. For NXT, to an extent, it does feel as if it's keeping your, like, stage and playoffs alive.
Definitely does. Desperate times call for desperate measures, so maybe we see some risky plays out there, but Requiem and NXT are about to take this show on the road, with Requiem starting off on the defense, NXT electing to be the proactive ones in this endeavor after Requiem picking this map. And they do move towards his left-hand side where only one player holds, but there is a bunch of killjoy utility to assist.
KO Knife was narrowly missed by Requiem. But it's a good amount of information that they have towards A main. That the Jet's pushed up, not got anything. The Execute's going to come in with the recon dart on the wall. And Deck is just out in the open.
And Bully just woos right past an Swarm. Deck catches Bully off guard and wants to go in for more. Presence illustrated, but it's Deck again to find one before he goes down to his grave. Brings one down with him. And the 3v4, Requiem can play this slow, no risk needed. And they've even got Harambe on the back line, waiting to see if NXT are willing to go all the way towards this A site. Not going to be happening. NXT holding to their guns and actually moving quite far forwards, finding an alternative angle of attack towards this B site. Yanto transforming this fight, or at least he attempts to, and NXT just take over.
Yeah, he just went straight in. NXT, it looked, you know, for a split second, they were in a 3 versus 5, and they managed to turn it around with these 3 players, slowly clearing and scaling up all these angles. And even a double peek there, Harambe does a huge amount of damage, actually, over to Maxim, but the dash leaves him right out in the open, and it's a nice double peek to clear him out.
Yeah, and that was a great adaptation from NXT mid-round. They knew they were in trouble, and they actually switched up the pace. Many teams don't try, out of disadvantage, don't really try to go deep onto the site like that. But NXT did, and Requiem weren't quite ready for it. Sort of thought it was more important to have that extra player on the flank, I guess.
It was definitely an audacious idea for Requiem to just have Deck on this, like, off angle. Trying to play off the little Killjoy Nanoswarm towards yellow. But here it's a similar play. KO Knife from Soren held on to at least this time, and Deck still not afraid to get aggressive and in the faces here.
That's what you kind of like about Requiem, right? Always try to get into your opponent's business. Oh, the timing not quite there for Deck, though. As Rex swings past and finds the first kill, looks to move in a little bit further as well. And Requiem this time will have to allow it, given that pistols are only in play for them right now.
Holding onto the wall to just make sure they can go much deeper towards Snowman and even towards Hut a little bit. Makes his retake so much harder for Requiem, even with the worst weaponry that they have.
Maxim, good high-low setup for him as well with Devo. And they're just going to hold at the line down. Bit of a name trainer play. Soren, only good to find one. I feel like Soren is one of those players that you've always got to be careful on these pistols. With Sheriffs will always pack the punch, but Bully to be the final player to put a bullet between the eyes for Toba, and that's NXT with the 2 rounds off the rip.
Yeah, good start. Important one for NXT. Kind of like you mentioned, a team that is notoriously bad at anti-ecos and a team that's very good at ecos. Making sure that you could be as clean and consistent as possible is massive for them. And it's something that you have to always be aware of and be focused in. But NXT, their bonus is quite good here. Got the
Hunter Suri already.
Yeah, and an outlaw against 3 half armors too. So a lot of good stuff to work with.
Yeah, not too shabby. Maxim able to find the ultimate straight away. Devo putting the outlaw already to good use. And it's a headshot to Deck, so it doesn't even matter what sort of shield he have.
Deck's still trying to play aggressive.
Oh, Harambe as well, and it's Rex to catch him off guard. Oh, backs out of it. Requiem are losing players left and right, but they're still confident to play aggressive, and finally it pays dividends as Yanto rips Bully off the sky.
Yeah, it did seem that NXT were trying to sort of take something that they had on the pistol. Look at this lurk in mid, though. It's just transformed with the outlaw and a sheriff. Toba keeping an eye on, sort of expects that with this orb going up, that the lurk might come through. The Eldron's going to keep that attention towards A main from these 2 players.
Oh, that was a brilliant kill for Soren to collect. He puts his team right back in the fight, maybe even ahead. Hunter Shura utilized Transformer, reads Toba's luck, so it's still a 2 versus 2 with a spike dropped. And Maxim trying to pick it up. Soren realizes it. Maxim drops away, makes a lot of noise in the process, but might be catching Soren off guard. Oh, here's the footstep, and it's right on time for Soren to peek. And Transformer is all alone in the 1v2.
30 seconds left.
21 HP Soren, though. Doesn't have his knife yet. It's just 2 mollies on his defense.
It's so hard to play. You've got to make noise if you're going to pick up the spike. And Yanto, the captain of Requiem, to seize the skies. Knocked right back on the ground with a giant thump. And it's Requiem to find their way on the board.
That was a 5 versus 3 there for NXT. Just maybe Bully overextending, like maybe NXT, they get those 2 kills, they want to cut noise, fake that they might rotate over towards mid, put Transformer on that lurk. It just felt like there was a little bit of like overextending, over-eagerness to fight when they didn't have utility handy to work with. And Requiem very lucky, I think, to come out with that anti-bonus there. It seemed like it was NXT's to pick up all day. And Deck as well was dying a lot on B main, now switching it over to play A alone. 3 players from Requiem playing towards B main with the Jet, KO, and Gecko.
I just really enjoyed Requiem's persistence in that round, right? They were down 2 players, but still kept up the tempo, posting up close to NXT. And that definitely caught them off guard. This time, they put pressure towards this left-hand side. NXT I'm quite checking just now as they do traverse all the way towards that A side. Again, Transformer, very well known to be the lurker in this map.
Why pushing up here is good, because it's, you know, if there's no contact there, you know it's A, but also you can just wrap around and try and find Transformer. Execute's going to be coming in with some good amount of pace for NXT, but Requiem having a full wraparound, I don't know if they've been spotted by Bully here. He might have heard some steps.
He might have. And he's looking exactly where he needs to. Gets caught off guard by a little bit. The reaction timing was a bit scary to look at, but still works out for NXT. But the thing is, do you expect Soren to be there? Do you expect Soren to walk all the way past you like that? I don't think you can. And all of a sudden, Maxim could have missed him, but no. Bully in the optimal position to try and punish back. Devo at the front line, but he's left to fend off the rest all alone. So it's untraded on the spike, but it's just a touch. Rex drops ground shot, but back on the spike again. Requiem putting a lot of pressure. And the time is just ticking. Nano Swarm will get them off of it. And the shock dart will do more damage to Harambe, but Deck needs to stick it now. And I think he might be able to, because Harambe is right in the front line trying to defend his teammate. And that's exactly what happens. It's Requiem to square things up.
Yeah, just getting half there. Harambe's 5 HP, the last player alive. I don't know who it was that got 5. Sorry, halfway on the defuse. It might have even been Harambe at that point. But it came up so massively. Like, Requiem, they're pushing up B main to get a lot of good information, but once that A execute comes in, it's so hard to play, because either you just rotate all the way around normally, or you can have to flank in behind them, which is all well and good. But when it's your Gecko and your KO flanking all the way around, you're missing that utility that the rest of the team need for the retake on site, right? So Again, it's sort of turning into like muddy fights where just some bits of utility are missing here or there. But there's still 2 full buys and an Empress for Rex. Whether he uses it or not remains to be seen with some Reyna players.
Yeah, some of them really like to hold on to that ult for a lot, right? Try to wait for those 1v3 moments and they're like, oh, it's my time to shine. But for this one, Requiem, sort of happy to go for this retake here, leaving this real estate for free. For NXT to gather, Transformer again pressuring in mid. Highs around the alarm bot, so might be catching Requiem off guard here. They've got no idea. Transformer's crossed all the way in mid, and he's playing the trigger system in play to grab 2 kills. That's a perfect play from Transformer, and NXT look like they have this round on the bag. Unless they cross into Yanta's crosshair. Oh no, overcooking.
There's a Thrash too as well, which is a great ultimate in this situation. Just whether he even goes for it or not. He's going to go for the flash. He's going to overextend, and Maxim's going to shoot him right underneath heaven.
Brilliant off angle. The thing is, the spike is planted all the way to the back side, so if they lose pressure of this site, it could be an easy defuse for Requiem. Great timing for Maxim to return, but he's left into the hot seat. Soren below, but reacts as quickly as that to put Requiem on top.
It's so risky to be like in the 1v1. You got the null command that was used. The flick up was crazy, and it's like these rounds are so back and forth. Like here, it's like, okay, there should be sign seal delivered, right, for NXT at this point, but there's no overextend there. You've got Harambe trying to lurk. The flick up is crazy good that comes in from Maxim. It's impossible to call some of these rounds.
It is, because for a moment NXT had control of the site, but they assumed they had control over rafters and back of the site as well, which they didn't. And I think it's this assumption that caused them to lose this round. And Requiem will take that round any day of the week.
Still dedicating to this setup though with having a Viper over on A. Aggressive B main, but it's like the KO Knife's missed a lurk. Transformer deciding to change it up because he's found so much success mid. He's actually kind of surprised that Requiem is still playing mid so open. They've moved the alarm bot away and playing it more towards the A side.
I mean, Transformer's like, I got the lurk for the lifetime, I still lose the round. So his confidence is definitely hindered here. Yanto, good to shut him down in this instance, but NXT are playing with a man less in this endeavor. Rex still with the Empress, Maxim, second Hunter's Fury for him this game.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good call. NXT see that there's 3 people fighting in B main, so it's like, all right, we could just go A. We're going to be strong side there. The Empress is going to be used. The Thrash is coming out on the defense. It's broken instantly.
Crazy that the Thrash wasn't used the previous round. Still, Requiem start to enter. Rex chooses to go aggressive rather than further back. Ooh, caught between a rock and a hard place, trying to focus between 2 players. Lockdown, though, will delay the defenders from moving onto this A site. One is even locked out. 2, in fact. And Bully, it's his turn to go for the lurk. To me, the turret alerts him of the presence. One of them is locked down. Bullets out. Maybe the Blades as well. Hunter's Fury deny the defuse, but I don't think it's got time. Wingman is on the case, and Maxime cannot stop it, and neither can Toba. Around for Requiem for yet another time.
Is that one of the first few times that we've seen the Wingman do like a clutch defuse at that kind of point? Like I said, these rounds are just impossible to call. Like, we have a timeout now, which at least gives us a moment, because Christ, like, you've got the lurk that's coming through, the turret goes off in mid, you have 2 players detained, flip around like cartoon characters to look in that direction. They both look like training bots when they did it, because their just arms are out and they just flick around to see what's going on.
And then the Blades came out, then you saw Toba panicking. Oh man. I don't know, is this a Wild West movie or a cartoon, Looney Tunes maybe? Bugs Bunny comes out with a giant fat shit.
You can't even really say there's been much wrong for NXT though, right? Like, it feels that maybe there's been some of these cases where they have the advantage, like the mid lurk finds so much and they're not really clinching these rounds that they've set themselves up to win, that they just need to almost confirm them. Like, that's the only thing that's been missing, is almost that 4th quarter for NXT. Is some of these rounds are like, there's no way that they can lose this, and they find a way, whether it's unluckiness or just overextending and overfighting.
I've got a better analogy, Ryan. Coyote and Bugs Bunny. Coyote and Roadrunner. Coyote always seems he gets close, nearly gets it done, nearly catches him, and always at the final moment It's Meep and yeah, Roadrunner escapes. And I feel like in this instance, Requiem are just the Roadrunner.
Really is so little to separate these two teams. I wouldn't say it's been the cleanest Valorant, but that's kind of expected when you're sort of playing at this level on a map like Icebox, where the fundamentals, the game plans are just so ingrained into players. It's more the little sort of moments of pizzazz, I suppose, the little flashes of brilliance that separate the good from the bad. Problem here for NXT, their money is still just good enough to work with. They have the Bladestone, but that operator's online for Harambe.
Yeah, many teams trying to go up the ranks sort of lose that pizzazz because you need to be a little bit more solid with your fundamentals, a bit on the basics of Valorant to try and close out games normally. And then you regain it at the end. It's sort of a curve that's only comes out at the start and the end of your careers. At the top of the lowest levels, Devo opens up the round here for this ace site. Requiem, one of those teams that seems to keep that pizzazz whatever the cost.
4v5 retake. And all of this utility trying to stall from Requiem that just hasn't really done that much to stop NXT, but the guns will.
Rex confused. Bully, necessary to show up. A bit rough and Soren will capitalize. Oh, you can't let them have this as well. The Viper Spit is for you. Oh, you can't start missing. Soren, superhero landing onto Transformer. Maxim shocked that dart. It does connect. But Soren knows. Soren is all-knowing, but he's got to be quick with this. I don't know if he has enough time to defuse.
I think
it's going to be very close. It's going to be very, very close.
Yeah.
And Soren's got it.
How many defuses have we seen? Like 2 back-to-back, less than a second defuses coming in. And it's the same story. It's just those literal last seconds of how these fights are going that's separating them. Right now, there's still another buy for NXT to work with, but look at the kills. 11 and 4 for Soren. Has another null command. There's a lockdown almost available on the defense. The first one that would be available for them. Yeah, NXT just can't quite get it over the board.
No, they can't. And I feel like for Soren, he's had quite the clutch performance throughout this tournament as a whole as well. When it comes to clutches, he just comes alive, deck very far forwards. He might be in trouble, but gets away from the POV of 2. Yanto there to assist. Oh, if you would have connected with a second, it would be ungodly. But still, NXT have been able to square things up just a little bit.
I feel like Deck's on the wrong agent with how aggressive he's been playing this map so far. He's not afraid to go for these fights, but he often goes for them alone because the rest of the team, you know, your Jet, KO, and Gecko are usually playing together as the free. And then there's just Deck, just, you know, on his own in a corner trying to fight aggressively.
You can tell how close these rounds have been given how Requiem have won 5 in a row and the economy is in shambles. So if NXT close it out here, they might have a chance to bring back a comeback of their own. Rex finally gets something going his way. Harambe looks to peek on his own and pays the price. Transformer, always quiet.
Good
Soren
angle.
always knows there's something's up, but this time he won't be successful in finding it. Yanto, the captain of Requiem, forced to do it all. Bit loud about his movement. Dizzy does assist a little while, but Rex finds an angle where Dizzy does not affect him, and that's going to be NXT right back on track.
I think it says it all with how this map has been for NXT, where they have already taken a time out because things have not been going well. Yet they haven't changed anything. Like, they're still just going for these A executes. They're still trying to clear some of that utility, go for the plant, having those mid lurks from Transformer. Really goes to show that, like, the problem isn't with the game plan for NXT. It's just, like, those individual decisions, like, right at the start of a round.
Yeah.
But here it was made a little bit easier. Even though the first kill did go towards Requiem, it was traded easily. Then Toba goes down. And like you just said, Pavlos, like, the money is so tight for Requiem. They lose 1 round out of, like, the past 4 or even 5. They're immediately on an eco.
Yeah, actually 1 out of 6. They've won 5 in a row, Requiem have. And Harambe goes on a bit of an excursion.
You said they were the eco gods. Let's see if it's true.
Against a team that loses quite a bunch of ecos. And a lot of ultimates in play. This would be the moment to get a pick.
Look at Deck again. I mean, he's
So
with
sneaky.
a Bucky.
I mean, 1 pick for Requiem, I feel this could turn quickly as anything. NXT are taking their time. They want to make sure they've got things covered up. Dizzy out from Yanta to try and see if they can grab a pick. That's exactly what Requiem are going for, trying to poke and prod. This allow NXT from moving in comfortably. But you can see they're moving in as a unit. 3 players strong, looking to take this beat. But Yanta comes off with one and goes in for another. The Mosh is perfect, out into the open, and now they can be caught off. The Guardian is put in play by Harambe. And Bully, yes, he's gone for the flank, but he's lost all his team, so now he's the main fight himself. How do you bring it back? Oh, dear me. They know exactly where he is, or at least they have got an idea now. They definitely know. Harambe with a triple, and of course, it's got to be an eco to put Requiem right back in winning ways.
Absolute thrifty dream from them again. And it's like, maybe that's why they've been playing more towards B on this defense, that they kind of think that NXT are on a low buy, so they try to go, like, they expect that NXT, if they're up against a low buy, will go B, otherwise they'll go A. There they had 4 people stacked up. Like, the plan seemed a really solid one of just getting that fight. NXT pushing further up and up to try and get a kill before they do anything else. But they end up just being stuck in that corner. They get moshed out. And Requiem are just in a good position to actively punish that. Defense has also changed up here too by pushing mid. They got the Gecko and the Jet pushing and taking all this space. NXT doing the same thing that they've done consistently, just going A.
Requiem doing a good job to keeping NXT on their tippy toes. These random shots, utility to hinder them. Devo tries to regress to find a moment to bring them on top. That's a great peek. If he runs away with his life, it's exactly what he needed. If there wasn't a wall there, Soren might also would have been dead. But instead, it's just the pick. Chanformer trying to make fate work in his way, but no. Looks like Harambe's got other ideas for himself and his team. Lockdown enabled from both sides, actually. But the fact that it's the attacker Killjoy that used hers first, it allows Requiem to move in shortly after. And NXT locked out of the site in its entirety.
I mean, there is a Hunter's Fury as well, so sitting back on his post plant is fine. Rashford's connect onto one. Hunter's Fury is going to sort of make sure that this defuse can't go in. Time is getting really low, and even though the kills are going towards Requiem, there isn't going to be any time.
No, there isn't. There absolutely isn't. Maxim has done a hell of a good job to lock this round down for NXT. Only one survivor by the end, and it's captain of Requiem, Ianto. But at least NXT keep things with a fighting chance.
Really does feel like Requiem, okay, so they're wanting to sort of play like more strong side, either for fighting mid like they did there, or for B main. And I guess the problem that they're running into is, if they're playing with 3 people towards B, that A side needs to be able to stall a lot more than it does. And it really does feel at the moment when you're lacking a Sova, like with shock darts and stuff, it's really only the snake bites and the nano swarms that could stop an A plant. But NXT are clearing it consistently, and they're doing it very quickly. So Requiem's retakes, it could be like 5v5s pretty much. But time gets so low, and NXT can get so comfortable in these post plants because of the way that Requiem's playing right now. It's so passive on the A site, but like NXT are just clearing that utility, and there's not much that Deck can do to stop it.
That's true. But it was about time NXT got a win on their post plant. They've had a few falter to Requiem's madness, let's be fair. But I think they noticed how much of a commotion is going on towards this left-hand side, and NXT are trying to react to it. Bit of a chance taken this time from Requiem, doesn't work out. Gonna have to pivot all the defenders to the right position.
And Lambot's going to get early information, and at least we have some rotates starting to come in, like Harambe making his way across as quickly as he can with the Blade Storm. But even here again, like, all of the utility that was there, Nano Swarms, the wall is going to delay them, the Snake Bite, it's not going to stop them for long before they get that plant down.
Requiem are just holding out in their spawn. Chilling. They know what the game plan is, whatever the hit is. Wherever NXT end up, they're going to go for this retake. Drone out, spotting presence. That's mighty aggressive from Harambe. Catches Rex off guard, and Deck has done his job on his entry. NXT losing all of their fights, and they're not liking this one bit. But Chanformer, he's making a lot of ruckus going in the back line, and I think Requiem know exactly where he's coming from. Whatever NXT try, it seems they won't be able to make it work. It's Requiem that are mighty strong on these retakes.
Might be the small little addition that Requiem made, that a lot of these rounds where they are playing free towards B and pushing up, that maybe Deck or Toba gets taken out, and then suddenly you're in a 5v4 retake or 5v3 retake. Here, maybe the call was for Requiem of just, okay, if they go A, just back out. Don't die. Doesn't matter if you get a kill or not, just don't die. Because our 5v5 retakes could be as clean as that if we play together. And actually, Requiem, for the last round of this half, are going to take a timeout, despite having the lead and despite winning the last round.
Huh.
Not really sure if I like this.
Yeah, I'm uncertain as well.
Because, you know, you could potentially go into this 8-4 up, having 2 timeouts for the half. Bit of a comeback from NXT. Maybe they win the pistol and then a bonus. You can time out then. Continues on a bit longer. You can time out again. Here it's... yeah, I don't know.
And it's not like you can hear chatter or something that needs to be discussed. It feels like maybe it's a breather from the coaching side saying, look, guys, chill out. Maybe you're getting a little bit too excited. These games can be losable. We need to practice being tranquil in moments where we still have the advantage. But it also gives time for NXT to speak within themselves, sort of bring themselves back, plot a way to re-enter the world of contention.
Yeah.
And being 1 round away from this half ending, they can just expend everything they have and give it a good shot.
I guess most importantly, NXT can change it up because they have been doing the same thing consistently. Their buy isn't great either. So all the more reason for Requiem to really not use this timeout and save it for the second half, potentially. Just giving NXT a chance to come up with potentially a thrifty round here, or at least to change it up. But a trap play here, going off the KO flash, connects onto the Reina only.
That's brilliant. Requiem collapse on NXT. Like a building from the 60s in an earthquake. Still. There's 2 left on this A site. NXT. Well, 3 now with Devo joining them with a spike. I'm just trying to find a way to see how NXT can bring this back. I think they just need hero plays one after the other.
I mean, that's what they've been able to rely on, and there's one of them. Bully overextending, these lurks going crazy, but it's an open plant for mid, so why not?
Only a few blades left for Devo. Can't miss many of them. Viper's Pit as well will make this endeavor just a little bit more difficult. Toba covering the higher ground, and it's for good reason. Still, Soren trying to hold back the rest. He'll be quite successful in doing so for some.
No.
The Snakebite actually has done a lot of damage in coordination with the Viper's Pit. Oh dear me, Bully finds an upgrade, and NXT make it work with a thrifty clutch. What is this half?
Well, that was torrid from Requiem, I gotta be honest. You're in a, I think, 3 versus 1 at that point with the kills. Soren has to push up and be aggressive. He gets taken out. The Viper of for Deck, he's sticking on the defuse despite being in the Viper's Pit and then being hit by the Snakebite. And then Toba's low HP at that point too. Like, that could really bite them in the ass if they're not careful with the rest of this half.
How many moments have we said, okay, this round is over, and then things changed rapidly? How many? I feel like it was half of the rounds in this half already.
Frustrating one. It seemed like NXT down at the half, but they did pick up the last pistol, so picking up both of them on Icebox could go a huge way. Right now, just 2 players going for these early fights on A main. Get some good info, but there's no rotations yet, other than this Viper that might take a little bit of a while. Rex gets the first kill. They're still trying to dedicate and fight on site.
A lot of chip damage away from Requiem. Could make them easier to collect. But so far, it's NXT that have been able to find their shots. They've been put the defenses in the right position at the right time.
Spike down.
Rex has got a bit of a confidence boost in this pistol. He's gotten 3 himself already. And Deck, all to himself. He has found the spike. He wants to be able to deal with the crossfire first. Rex with 4 actually by the end of that one. The perfect way to close the gap as quickly as possible for NXT.
Yeah, he is an arena as it's meant to be played on this map. Just being aggressive on belt in A main. Go for a fight. If you get a kill, you can dismiss out safely. And just make sure that the attackers need to dedicate a lot of utility to take space that they maybe often get for free. So that's both pistols going the way of NXT, and like I said, very easily this can become even on score going into NXT's bonus. Requiem, not sure what they're dedicating to over on this pistol. Recon Dart, just to get this orb and to get some early info, has come in from NXT. You got the KNF that's actually used towards speed, actually hits 2.
Ooh. Max will back out. Respecting the movements. NXT's buys still a little bit rough around the edges. Lose a Vandal, and then you've got the Outlaw to hold out on long distances, but they've got to make this retake happen, and the Sheriff's from Requiem hits like a truck, and Soren is definitely one of those players that will put that Sheriff to great use. Still, NXT yet to find a kill this round. And Requiem are putting a lot of pressure on them, disallowing them from moving or budging an inch. Finally, NXT find a couple of kills, but how much more can you find? Devo, these are close corners that you need to cover with the Outlaw, not the optimal weapon for it, but can you find the flicks necessary? Switching back to the Sheriff and going for the chase. Shorin finds a kill, but there's only one player remaining, and I think there's just enough time for the defuse here for Bully, and NXT averts the crisis.
Oh, it was close. We've already seen an eco picked up from Requiem thus far, and NXT managing to win out means that their bonus isn't going to be great. They might not even dedicate to a full bonus here. It seems that they're buying up, you know, rifles, half armor in some cases. For Requiem, they've got the Outlaw in place, sort of knowing that the round was rough for NXT, that everybody's going to be on half armor. It's a great call for Harambe, and it could find a lot of success if NXT are not careful. 2 ghosts, or like 2 pistols at least, for NXT on this defense.
Let's see what NXT can do here. I'm actually surprised we're seeing a second rifle, but it was a rough second round buy for NXT.
Yeah.
Sort of showing that they were looking to be more prevalent on this third round of the half.
Well, he's going to push up to see if they can get a bit more information, but he does have support of these 2 duelists. He's about to get crunched on from Transformer as well.
And he's unassisted, importantly. Oh,
the timing!
No! The timing of it! Draws out his knife. And Transformer will swing out of the shadows and say hello. Shorin close by. Harambe upper ground covered. Devo quick to rip Yanto from his own feet. Harambe has put the Outlaw to good use so far, and Spike is in no man's land, with Requiem required to retrieve it again. NXT 2 players very close to this fight. They've got good Vandals to work with this. Snakebite, where does that land? Not quite deep enough. 30 seconds
left.
Requiem, how do you unfold this? It's like an origami piece of art right now for NXT.
Oh, he's out bullets.
But not quite. You're right. Transformer now left alone.
Toxin screen. Spike planted.
Spike down. 2 beneath him, but has he been able to avoid their line of sight? No, he does not. Both spot him at the same time, and it's Requiem to find their way back on the scoreboard.
Another round that seems to just swing wildly in different directions. But I did like the idea of Requiem just having the Outlaw on attack, because outside of the Sova, there's not many great ways for NXT to get information other than to peek in it. You could sort of see that Rex wanted to go for a little bit more info, see if it could get just a little bit more on what's happening on A. But it's so risky there. And speaking of risk, Operators invested early for NXT. Half armor for Devo. He's going to be playing over towards A with the Sova and Reyna to help him. But it seems that Requiem are looking to go in a different direction. They're looking to go towards B, and is this a tech or a tech pause? Probably a tech.
No gray screen, so tech pause. Yep. Well, as usual, as soon as we know exactly what's going on, we will relay that info onwards.
I did want to ask, what do you think of Abyss? And generally as well, like, we saw some great quotes from the players with Breeze going out of the map pool, which was on Reddit. I'm curious to see what people's reactions to Abyss are so far, because, Yeah, it definitely could be a cringy map for sure, right? Like with some of the stuff that you can do on it.
I'm not gonna lie, I haven't looked into it that deeply, but once I have, I'll give you all my ins and outs and thoughts. But yeah, it looks like a cool concept so far. And definitely unique. It's what Valorant try to go for the maps, right? All of them have a different style and uniqueness to it, and it's definitely built to be just that.
There's been a couple of players, a couple of respected individuals of the Northern Europe community in chat, and Bodok, but we're back into this one. I mean, this KO knife is really good on B. Just from force transformer away, he could reaggress, but with how quickly Harambe's cleared all that space, NXT immediately have to adjust.
And Deva's on the wrong side of the map. He's sort of holding off to see if Requiem are actually going to be pushing towards this A site. So the operator won't be in play in these long distances, and Harambe is looking to close out those distances himself.
Oh no.
Doesn't check the left-hand side corner. It was a lazy peek, in fact, to crumble NXT's attempt, or Requiem's attempt rather, to push onto this B site.
Was there any utility there, really?
Oh, I'm not sure. They know where Toba is as well. I mean, the lurk won't even be necessary. NXT are just all four stacked up, looking at the same corner. And if Toba swings, he'll be a dead man.
I don't think I heard like a KO flash, a Gecko flash. It was just everybody had their guns out to try and clear space. Maybe they assumed that NXT were going to be stacked more towards A, but because, like you said, Pablos, like Devo had the operator there, he can be there on his own if he wants to, especially as Jet, you can dash out. That meant that NXT's rotation was super quick and probably a lot faster than Requiem were expecting.
Yeah, maybe so. I mean, yeah, Devo wasn't there, but the rest of them were. Maybe Requiem tried to go for a bit of a dry peek, trying to catch them off guard, which it sort of did, but it doesn't work if you laser peek your angles.
I mean, I just didn't really think that there would be a player on that angle. That's
10 seconds.
kind of what I
that's
like.
the thing.
Especially with where Devo is right now, that was the corner where Harambe peeks. He's looking more towards Hut. Doesn't quite clear it. And then I guess that Viper wall dropping in all the Chaos Bully is just easy pickings from him when he's playing from Orange. He just looks right across. Viper wall's gone down. All of the attacking players are looking more towards CT. Easy peasy.
For anybody that has just joined us, this match is one that will show us what sort of strength NXT have in store for us. They were playoffs contenders, not quite making it the last stage, but this time, I think this is the first match we're seeing them on full strength and not playing against a team that we know as finalists of the previous split. Now with all 5 players as strong as they can be, it's time to show that they can contend for playoffs this time around. As Requiem, the newcomers of this league, the fresh edition, have been showing up for 3 matches consecutive, and they're looking to keep that streak going and be a menace in playoffs already.
Requiem are playing this right, though. Just the aggression and no command, knowing that they're up against the operator, just straight execute, straight firing in. And immediately it's a 4 versus 2 whilst the plant goes down. In fact, people might be down before the spike even gets planted at this rate.
And there's honestly not much for Ret Transformer to do, if anything. Toba might be providing him his skull. So the Dizzy gives away all the information that Requiem needed, a bit of a deeper angle for Soren to gather. Soren has been actually pretty smart with all the angles he's been playing, and it's shown this round as well with the amount of impact he's gathered, 3 kills to his name. He's not only known for his dances, he's known for his skills on the server. Not Transform, sorry, it's Soren that has been doing a lot of that, yeah.
Soren in his fridge, yeah. I do like the way that Requiem are playing this though, because like so often you see
like... Has he got 2 fridges, by the way? It felt like he had one in the back right corner as well as to his left.
It's just in the warehouse, I think.
Maybe.
But it's like, you see a lot of like the KO knives being used on attack of Icebox, like especially towards B. The Viper just moves out the way on the defense, then moves back into that spot. With the pace of Requiem are playing at, they're making sure that if they KO knife something, that they're fighting and taking that space quickly. That they don't give NXT an opportunity to just go back into those spots. But here, that aggression gets punished. The operator tries to go for the fight, but it's actually the attacking operator of Toba that finds the opening, and the Thrash isn't going to actually connect onto the Reyna. Oh no, it does.
It does. For a second there, it felt like Maxim would have been in place to sort of avenge him or try and defend him. Bully, super mighty with his stand. But it's a 3v3 with a lockdown drop. Requiem are going to go aggressive instead of on the defensive. Bully will be closing up the gap against him. It is going to be 1-for-1, maybe 1-for-2. Requiem winning these fights. Maxim is going to have to go after the remaining players. The lockdown is no more, and Requiem show their might on this attack.
Yeah, they're playing at such a pace. Like, they're making the Gecko KO work by almost out-aggressing the two duelists. Just with that utility, the onslaught, like, being able to have 5 people fighting on site whilst the Gecko is planting the spike with a wingman. And NXT forced to use their second and last timeout. Requiem still have one handy. And here it's just struggling to get anything going. This is a team that's won both the pistols, yet still might lose on this map, which is Requiem's map pick. You still have Ascent coming up. But Ascent, even for NXT, it's not like their home ground. It's their second option behind Split, where they've been running the Cypher Deadlock pretty well. Like, it's been one of their, like, shining maps. I guess the problem is a lot of teams now, like, naturally, even if you liked playing Breeze and Split beforehand, it's hard to get scrims. It's hard to get good practice on those two maps now, because everybody's moving over towards Haven and potentially Abyss for the future.
I mean, we did talk a little bit about Abyss. How do you feel about Haven coming back?
I'm really surprised that it's coming back with no changes. Like, I thought there'd be something, right? Like, the map's not
really
perfect. Yeah,
True.
but like,
you're right.
Maybe it was a bit of like a, you know, push the big red button. Like, oh, people are complaining about the map, but let's bring back Haven. Everybody loves Haven.
Maybe. I mean,
they don't want to bring back a newly reworked Pearl. You know, like, people will lose their minds.
NXT, shaky as the buys, of course, but the Blades of Harambe are leading the charge here for Requiem. Bit of Killjoy utility on the defense, and NXT are actually reacting quite quickly to this. 2 players already close to the bounce, but what really can you throw at this? It's Requiem that are known for their pistol rounds, not NXT. And Harambe absolutely explosive on his Blades. Devin wants to return the favor. He's a bit jealous. I've got Blades too, and shows them to the world. How many more can you find?
You should run.
The lockdown's even
expanded.
dedicated.
Oh, Harambe ripped off the skies. Soren returns the favor though. This lockdown allows Requiem to play this a little bit more aggressively, buys time, and NXT lose time in the process.
Oh, the
Close
flash.
by. Rex reads it. It's brilliant. Now Topa needs to turn the favor, but he can't. He's missing his shots, and it's Rex to come back with a Sheriff. It's all down to Soren, but not for long. Rex, a really super class play from him to get his team right back on track.
Even the Blade Storm from Devo needs a little bit of credit there, and that's around a thrifty, like an anti-eco for Requiem where they dedicate the lockdown and they still lose. And it was, you know, touch and go moments, right? You've got Rex after the lockdown, like putting a flash, putting the layer in a great position to retake that space, knowing that Requiem were going to overextend perhaps, but it's on an angle where it doesn't actually hit the players beneath it because it's above like the platform above. But they still hit the shot and they still get the kill anyway. Like, you can't call this map, even if it feels that one team is favorites to pick up a round. It just seems to swing the other way in the most outrageous, hard to call fashion.
Ryan, it's as if they heard us in the pre-game. They were watching the stream and were like, we've got some of the worst stats on our ecos and losing against them as well. We've got to change that today, don't we? And yeah, well, they've already made strides. I think they've already had a couple of those rounds this game already.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I've never seen so many, like, completely weird as shit, like, rounds, like, clutches and defuses and stuff, right? Like, it's Thursday night Valorant. I didn't realize this was just a thing.
Just know that's quoted on, and Bodok is currently making a graphic with your words. Still, you're not wrong, and it's a 4v5, and Requiem still aren't out of it, especially given how far Toba's gone onto that A site. He's done so much exploring, in fact, which has called his team over. Now he mustn't lose his life and hand over the site back to NXT. Uh-oh, Requiem are going to A, but they don't know what's there to hide.
It's just an alarm bot. I don't think there's any nanoswarms for Bully. He is here on his own. But no rotations are actually coming in. They still think it's just the Killjoy overextending on the lurk, but no. The rotation's all the way through. This plant is going to come in pretty much uncontested. And Transformer goes down with this mid lurk. At least it's traded, but it's a 2v4 still for Requiem.
Here.
Posting up together. Trying to see if they can work this out. As a hold, Harambe disjoins. Recon shut down just in time to not reveal either of the two. Soren sticks by, Bully reads it down to Harambe, but this is just mighty tough against the four. You can call this over already. Yes, you can take one down with you, but NXT draw it right back up.
I mean, it sort of does look like that fight that Toba had. Yeah, that's the defining moment. If Toba gets that kill over towards Bully, you have an open A site. But even then, like, he went, I think maybe there's an element of, like, Toba peeking because he's been seen, he feels he has to go for that kill. But you saw how the rest of the round panned out. The rotation wasn't there from NXT. They were still holding and expecting there to be a B play. Just makes you think that, like, if Toba just backs off there, the rest of the team rotate and plant, you just have that extra body. And maybe that, like, lurk in mid can find a little bit more success without being traded. I mean, there's a lot of, like, hindsight what-ifs moments and stuff, but that's really all this map has come down to. Just that if a player goes for this fight / doesn't go for this fight, the whole round and the whole map, the whole series could be dramatically different.
That's fair. I mean, we've looked at a few of these series from Requiem. They have tended to be slower off the rip, but it hasn't really been the case today. I mean, their individuals are online. They're performing well when it comes to these fights. Is that some decisions have not been the optimal ones? Still quite a lot of Killjoy utility nearby to alert of attacking presence, and NXT will react off the back of it, but the spike will be going down safely for now.
Spike planted.
Chugged out to do a little bit of damage. It's good here, and the Viper's Pit dedicated. It's the Gen G one as well. It goes all the way across. You do also have that Thrash as well for the post plant. So NXT, despite being on the anti-eco here, might struggle with this one because of how much ground they have to cover. Look at where the Vipers play in this ult.
Is he broken down? Harambe trying to go aggressive here and loses the rifle. The only Vandal in play for Requiem this one, so the Guardian of Deck is called to do a lot, but then Soren has a Sheriff, so you need to be careful of that as well as Tobas. Oh dear me, this is going from bad to worse for NXT. Rex, you can hear the spike ticking, knowing that time is of essence, and when pressure is on, it's going to be Requiem on top yet another time.
It's a big gamble to go for the Viper's Pit there, but when it's getting this close, that's what it comes down to. The Thrash still available for Yanto. And Requiem taking a timeout here again, just after winning a round. Like, whether this was called, like, whether they called the timeout, like, in the middle of the round before Requiem won it, that's one thing. But here, you're just giving NXT another opportunity to come up with something, to come up with a plan. They see that you are Thrash. Maybe they've anti-stratted what you like to do here.
Second time out, that's got a bit of a weirdness to it.
Could also just be a
Toilet break.
yeah, timeout toilet break.
All my hands are sweaty, let me go wash them real quick.
Yeah, sometimes it happens. Sometimes you just, like, there's other stuff going on, so taking, like, the opportune timeouts is tough. Because maybe that explains, like, the round 12 one. Maybe somebody's just, you know, a little bit poorly. You never know.
Yeah, you know.
Or just, like, the comms are just chaotic and people are, like, arguing about what happened in the last round, and the coach needs to be like, you know, sod the last round, let's just focus on this next one. Like, just take a moment to relax and stuff. But for Requiem, like, we've not really seen them really, like, overheat necessarily. Like, we've seen them lose and stuff, sure, but this just feels like it's weird to watch them play like this when they've been so, like, clinical and clean thus far the stage. I'd say for both teams, like, the term would be sloppy, if I'm honest.
Sure. Yeah, I don't think you'd be wrong at all in that statement. Rex quite far forward. He's just being assisted by Devo and Maxim quite far close to him as well. Requiem aren't considering that position. It's more of Toba making sure that there's no push heading in his direction. Instead, an alarm bot is awaiting for Requiem's approach over to this B site.
Yeah. NXT have also flipped over their default. Seems to be that wherever the Viper is on the defense is the side that gets hit. Whether that's a read or just happenstance. It's happening here again over on the B site.
Oh. This time a dash is assisted by Dizzy. Yanto gets destroyed through a smoke. Sure, it happens, but it's quite a lot that NXT are taking for them. Harambe spots where the weapon is, misses the cross of Rex, and now wonders where he can find most impact to the back of the site. He cannot. Rex is quicker to the trigger. And now there's 3 remaining here for Requiem. Little by little, they're running out of players. The Viper Spit allows Rex across, but it's also being held by Bully here. He might be able to catch 2 off guard here.
Oh
no,
my
it's
God,
just
Devo.
the 1 and damage onto Devo. Beautifully done to turn around 180 degrees to put NXT right back in charge. Toba, can you save the day? Couple players low. But Topa drops, and it's down to Shorin. He's been great for clutches, but not enough this time around. The fuse coming in, and it's just there for NXT to square things up yet again.
Yeah, it's 2 timeouts from Rec Room. NXT have won the round straight afterwards. And, like, a lot of it comes down to, like, I wish that we were, like, you know, in EMEA like VCT, where we can have players' individual perspectives, because that flick around from Devo was crazy. To view it from that perspective, I imagine it's even better from his, because that lurk, I think, from Toba could have found so much. Look at the buy, though, for Requiem, though. It's not great, and NXT might be in a good opportunity to make it 12, but the Thrifty Gods have been the Thrifty Gods again today with Requiem. You just never know.
Thrifty Gods are always around in Challengers North. But Devo has had enough of the Gods' shenanigans.
Knife got free, though. That's why Rec Room's decision is to go very quickly over towards the B site. Nianto, can he get past without the alarm bot going off? No, he can't. But it has pulled the attention away from NXT into B main, and maybe, just maybe, this lurk from Deck could find everything in Tube.
Spike down. That gives something to Requiem. Deck looking to move into kitchen. It might be the right.
Oh my God!
Bully, the intuition on this. Did Maxim spot him or something? No, the bot did on the cross. That's why he turns around. That makes sense. Now Deck needs to find a different angle of approach. The lockdown is going to bring more difficulty to this endeavor for Requiem, and Deck's cross isn't allowed. Shorin chooses to go aggressive, and it's a good measure. Double kill goes to him, but now it's down to Toba, and it's got a long way to go and a lot of ground to cover. Already the fuse halfway. Maxim with enough upper ground, and it's enough to shut it all down. NXT 1 round away from actually gathering Icebox as their own.
I mean, how did they manage this? It's weird because they won both the pistols, so you'd expect them to maybe win it just off of that on Icebox, but this has felt like it's been in Requiem's hands all throughout. It's just these, like, look at the scoreboard, just these couple of rounds. Loads of defuses today on this map too from both sides. Looking like OT could be on the cards here though, but with the ultimates, it's just whoever can use them better. There's a lockdown. Not Hunter's Fury just yet from Maxim, but he's not that far away. Might be able to try and fight for the orb here, but it is a fight.
Definitely got caught off. He's been able to dash back, right back into safety. A different angle. Last time he was able to replace himself. He got a nice, lovely kill, but got traded instantly. This time, repositioned substantially, and the lockdown is placed. Now, Requiem, what do you choose to do with this? You can see Toba rotating all the way around, at least faking some steps backwards to check the back line. Well, NXT respect the approach and hand the site over.
Oh, I got Rex. Still, it's fine. The spike hasn't been planted. There's still a good amount of time to be working with.
What?
And this is crazy aggressive from Transformer.
And he actually sticks around. Not only does he stay to the back of the site, he moves in and now does look for reinforcements to arrive to save him. And it's Rex who tries to get there right on time, but Harambe makes the blaze work like wonder work. It's Devo now to turn the favor. He's got an operator, but Bully has got a rifle, and he's got the players right next to him. He tries to deal with Harambe with the blade ace to put Requiem into overtime.
Crazy hero stuff to come out in the end for Harambe. And of course he goes to OT with these two teams just battling it out like crazy. And NXT there, it's like they go out with the Ultra and it's just Transformer that's just sending it afterwards. He gets caught out by the Thrash. It's sort of the right idea to make sure that somebody's going off the back of the Eldron, but nobody's with him. Nobody's ready. Maybe the pressure and the tension just people not in the right positions at the right time. It's hard to say. But with the kind of map that we've had today, it's no surprise that it's gone to OT. But honestly, it's impossible to call who's going to be able to bring it over the edge here.
It's impossible to call. You're right, Ryan. Oh, dear me. Harambe in trouble. Spotted second time running. Damage down to 28.
Lady Odin. Nice little curveball. Especially with NXT constantly going A. It's no alarm bot to play off this time. But it's whether this outrun, like, what information does it spot? Because right now, it's only cleared the jet. It hasn't seen the player on screens, nor has it seen the player backside.
Harambe narrowly avoids that. Crossfire in play for Requiem, the strongest defended site. Is where NXT are looking to push through. Yanto, the timing of him peeking could be the difference between success and defeat.
This recon's going to go hard, potentially, as well from Maxim.
Oh, Harambe needs to be very careful with his sprays because he shows where he's coming from. And he's easier to mow down. Deck repositions, and the Odin can shoot finally through that box, but Devo has done wonder work for NXT. He's jealous of Harambe's play with the Blades previously, so he gets a triple kill before he gets shut down himself. It's down to Shorin, great on the clutches, but against 3 it might be too much to ask. 20 seconds, but it's NXT on the clock to get the spike down. That's what Maxime does. 1 left behind. Great adaptation from Soren. And now down to 2. He's got to figure this one out, but NXT are going to play the slow. There's a snakebite available. No nano swarms from Bully. Actually, was just expended. Down to the spike again. Can he isolate them? Chanformer. He's going to look to pick together with Bully here. It's going to be timed nicely from NXT to gain the lead for another time.
Yeah, battling it through. And they really look like at a spot there. Like NXT really might struggle towards the A site. You've got a player on Gen, you've got a player on screens, a player backside. But just as time went on, even though time wasn't on NXT's side, it was Requiem that sort of overpeaked and overextended. Got a little bit antsy. They wanted to get information. It sort of goes back to the pistol, right? The Requiem have the aggressive positions, might even find the first kill. But NXT's ability to re-clear and rescale those positions, being able to get the kills, works wonders for them here.
Tricky position from Devo. Harambe, what is that swing? He barely saw his opponent and still grabbed the kill. Rex, though, looking to save the day, and this might be the best moment to do it because they could secure the map right here, right now. Shorin puts him to sleep. And it's time for Requiem to return the favor. So aggressive, but the flash is immaculate. NXT look to move through, but it's Maxime to have the intuition of a god to allow NXT to grab a Requiem's map pick split.
I mean,
Icebox.
it was well played from them. Yeah, it was a brutal map for both teams, like sloppy in places, just the big twists and turns. And it's weird, you'd sort of look at it like NXT, they win both the pistols, so they should really have the advantage and should be winning that map, but it still ended up going super close. And we were talking a lot about like Rex and Harambe, that head-to-head, but honestly we saw some good moments out of like Devo, especially towards the end there. Even like Bully and Zoran. NXT, a great position to be in, going on to your map pick after this of Ascent coming up. It's like a great testament. Like this series would do so much for them. Yeah, Requiem are a team that came through the close qualifiers, but they genuinely look like the second best team, like third best team, maybe second best team in the league as of right now. So NXT winning this would definitely just reset how this stage has been going for them.
Well, it's also good to see that the players are looking good and well. I think from the cams and the reactions, I think that's the most animated we've seen them this entire year, right? I saw a lot of smiles out there, a lot of energy, probably due to the fact that that last round was a bit chaotic and it was Maxim's double through a smoke that got them the win eventually. But yeah, that's going to be it from map number 1, Icebox, and we're down to Ascent for map number 2. NXT's home map pick to see if they can secure the dub against Requiem.
just couldn't find it. The special someone to give me my heart. I've been searching my life, but then I found it. Now I won't let you out of my sight. I wanna keep this feeling forever and ever. I'm there when you need me, whenever, whenever. Keep this feeling forever and evermore. I wanna keep this feeling. I'm there when you need me. Keep this feeling forever and evermore.
gonna be hard, but you can take it. Want you to cry, then you will fake it. Give it a beat and you will shake it. The finish line and you'll make it. Don't you let it get you down. Just keep getting up when you hit the ground. Don't you let it get you down. Just keep getting up when you hit the ground. Gotta be real with it. Never give up, never, never give up. It's gonna be hard, but you can take it. Want you to cry, then you will fake it. Give it a beat and you will shake it. The finish line and you'll make it. Don't you let it get you down. Just keep getting up when you hit the ground. Don't you let it get you down. Just keep getting up when you hit the ground. Gotta be real with it. Never give up, never, never give up. Never give up, never, never give up. Never give up, never, never give up. Never give up, never, never give up.
Welcome back to Challengers North, everybody. Requiem and NXT has already taken place. At least the first map has, and it's Requiem's map pick. Icebox to fall the other way to NXT. A big back and forth, some palaver rounds. How would you describe it, Ryan?
I feel like I called it sloppy earlier, which, one, it's Icebox, two, it's a big series, three, it's like first map series of the week, too. We got glimmers of great moments, but I feel like a lot of it was just overextending in the wrong places, going for fights you don't need to for both sides. But honestly, NXT, they just keep their head above water, down like pretty bad towards the beginning of that map, being able to come back, and Requiem not being able to close it out.
I mean, there have been a couple of standout players from both sides of the sheet. Sure, and on one hand, omnipresent, right? On the Sheriffs as well, incredible, but it's Rex that was on the winning side of things, doing a pretty good job with the Reyna. And we were saying at the start of the map, when Reyna Jet, the double duelist, used to be in meta, that's not what you usually see. You'd usually see the Reyna as a sacrificial lamb, but in this instance, Rex was just doing everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we sort of highlighted the two duelists going into this one. Obviously, there was two duelists on the side of NXT with Devo coming in with a bit of Jet. But it was still like, yeah, a good team performance. Like, these are two teams that, you know, we do expect to probably be pushing for playoffs. Like, it feels like for Requiem, if they win this, when you have got, like, Only Fins and Apina Orchestra as your last two games, like, they're winnable for sure. But they're also, like, for Only Fins especially, expected to be in playoffs. Whereas for the side of Requiem, that's NXT's. For Requiem, you've got Formulation Gaming, who, despite doing well against Apex last week, is still pretty much at the bottom of the league too. And then Sweet and Sour, so another sort of team towards the top. So it is like so impactful to keep that momentum going in the case of Requiem, but also for NXT to get out of this rut that they're in since they lost to Metasport last week.
Yeah, it's exactly what we were talking about, right? The fact that it's up to NXT to show us what they actually can do, and not only on the server, but also in statistically as well to be in fight for playoffs. But they've done the first job, right? When Icebox, we knew that if Sunset was the case, it would be a bit of a coin flip. Ascent, I still think it's still a bit of a coin flip. It's one of those maps that any team could win, any team knows how to play, and Requiem definitely does as well. So what's your confidence level? If you're NXT right now, what's your confidence level going into Ascent?
So you lost recently to Apex 13-8, I think it was.
Yeah.
So you picked that map. It was like, it's an all right performance. Not the best, not the worst. But you're going up against Requiem that haven't played Ascent at all, like this stage thus far, right? Like we've not seen them play it at this level, which could be, like you sort of expect what agents you're going to see. It's a case of whether it's the Killjoy or the Cypher. That's the main change that's going to come through for teams, especially when NXT themselves play the Cypher instead. It's a tricky one because you assume that they're going to be attacking first. You've got to make sure that your attacking side's solid. So it's hard to have a good attacking side when you don't know the defensive setups of the team that hasn't played this map so far this stage, right? So it's definitely a risk, but there's had to be that. Like we said at the start of the show, the vetoes, the very different maps that both these teams like, they kind of clash and cancel each other out. So we saw it for Requiem, right? It was their pick of Icebox. It went the opposite way. Definitely can happen the other way around with NXT losing on Ascent. Yeah,
and also Requiem are known for reverse sweeps as well. They've done it, whether that was in play-ins, the Promo Relo, Eclipse, or that was in this season as well. I think in the latest match against a Peanut Orchestra, was it? And so if it's any team to bring out a reverse sweep, it's got to be them. But yeah, let's have a look a little bit at what NXT have been doing on this map. They've changed things around just like they did in Icebox. Actually, no, they haven't changed things around. This is actually a staple of theirs. Solid stuff. Meta comp, I don't know. We've seen this too many times. It's Ascent.
Yeah, like it's always risky to be sort of taking and picking maps you've just not seen your opponent play. Like on the Lotus, you don't know what you can really expect. You might have an inclination, but even if they do play like a normal setup, you don't know where they're positioning their agents, what kind of rounds that they have to work with. That's the only thing to watch out for here. But a lot of the plays, a lot of the stuff that Requiem could do on their defense especially is like stuff that you've ran into hundreds, if not thousands of times at this point when you've got the experience that these NXT players have. So you're not going to be completely thrown off unless the Requiem have something truly inspired cooked up here.
And I don't think it's Requiem that are under pressure. I feel it's NXT that are more under pressure. Even though they won the first map, they've got more to prove here. They've got to show us that they can close out a series, and I feel like they haven't won enough maps for them to know what it feels like to are close to finishing off a series, at least on recent times, right? So they've got to find that groove, while Requiem are like, sure, we lost the map, we've won reverse sweeps before, go in with a carefree attitude like they always do. When they are carefree, they do wondrous and crazy things, unfathomable things, and that's the scary part about Requiem. And if NXT aren't careful, they might fall victims to that craziness, and we'll quickly see the series transpire in Requiem's favor out of nowhere.
Yeah, for sure. Like, it's definitely something that they need to be careful of. I think as well, series-wise, Requiem can lose this series, and I think they're still going to be like in a good position to make playoffs. Whereas if NXT lose this series, I feel like it's going to be really hard to actually build up to making top 4 and keeping your chances of like ascension alive, basically, or like, you know, making play-ins and such. So yeah, like I agree with you, Pavlos, that I think there's a lot more pressure on NXT to get this right. Even winning 2-0 would go a huge way when they have the head-to-head win against Requiem. So it's an important map to get right, but it is the first time that we've seen Requiem play it, and actually ends up being a bit of a mirror comp.
It's exactly a mirror comp. Requiem just showing up with NXT's style, And we'll have to see which team plays it best. And yeah, we saw Requiem have got less to lose in this endeavor in the grand scheme of things in the standings. But they've also shown that they can bleed, right? Because they come in into this league showing up against teams we didn't expect them to, right?
Yeah.
They only lose against Apex, and that was when they didn't have Yanto in play. So still scary factor. Requiem, they've shown that they can be amongst the best, like you said, in the conversation for top 2, top 3. We just have to see them play against Sweet and Sour to be able to know for sure. But the fact that NXT are giving them a good fight here shows that they can bleed, and it can be quite an even fight across the midfield like it was the previous stage.
There is a change, though, with Devo and Rex actually changing over the roles, because it was Rex on the Jet beforehand. Now he's on KO. Devo's on that Jet. So we had been highlighting this like Harambe versus Rex battle happening, but it is actually going to be Devo versus Harambe on that Jet head-to-head. Rex playing more of a supportive role on that KO. Maybe that's enough of a change for NXT to make something happen for them. Be a great win for them if they can go 2-0. Otherwise, Requiem, reverse sweeps, they're pretty good at them. They're pretty strong at playing up against these tenured teams in this region. Let's see how they do with backs to the wall against one of the most experienced Northern European teams that we have on one of the most common maps we've seen.
Yeah, maybe not for this region. Ascent has always found its way in the ban sheets or in the ignore piles, but now we're seeing it on this matchup in this series. Map number 2, NXT's map pick as its Requiem's elected position, the attacking side. And that's exactly, they'll be starting off, forcing NXT to be the defenders in this instance. Let's get things rock and rolling, as it's going to be Yanto on this right-hand lurk, and NXT considering a 3-player push. 3 actually spotted with that dagger, sort of prompting Requiem to just move into this B site.
Yeah, they cut noise. They've got this camera to play off as well in market, but I'm not quite sure what it sees, whether it's a bit of like a one-way, but the dash Ram is going to be hit by the trip. Maxim, it's an easy kill. It's an easy read. And NXT have found themselves the first kill.
And it's step by NXT. Get the first kill, and now find all your players to be in the right location to perform this comeback. And they've actually grouped up. A bit of Carmine Core-esque play with 3 players moving in. Tripwire will stop them, but there's only 1 player to fend off against this triple player stat. They're going to be moving in. Yanto, the good time flash. Paranoia going in his direction, so neither of them able to perform with their weapons, but it does hinder NXT time-wise. And you can see Requiem are just forced back altogether as they've retreated and holding hands. Yanto looking to hold through, but it's NXT that actually find the first kills. They do line up, and Soren does a lot of work with his Ghost, but I feel that NXT have got plenty of time for this defuse and will win round number 1.
That's 3 pistols out of 3 for NXT. It's the one thing that they've been clearly the better team at with how they've been performing. But it's another great read on the pistol too. Just the trip over on switch, the dash comes in. Easy kill for Maxim when he's playing from market. And just the retake, it was nice and careful, flanking all the way around. It got a lot of utility out of Requiem that were forced to use their flashes and mollies to stall, but it could only stall for a certain amount of time before that retake came in very aggressively.
And now we go into round number 2. Just to set the stage for anybody that hasn't tuned into the series, Requiem tremendously good at ecos, NXT tremendously good at losing them. And that's been the theme across their game so far in this league. But NXT have been able to turn the tables over on Icebox and be the ones who've been winning most of those ecos. But for now, it's better weaponry for them. Let's see if they can maintain that lead.
Oh, no.
Stack with first blood. And Harambe on the other end. Uh-oh, it feels like NXT are in trouble, but at least Rex is able to trade it out. He's got a Paranoia going right after him, so he's hindered for now as Requiem move into the safe side, but without the spike, so it buys time for NXT.
It's when his retake is going to come in, because the weaponry isn't great for Transformer here. He does find a kill onto deck. Like you said, they're still just waiting for this plant to come in. Eldron clearing and getting a lot of information. Camera's going to try and tag somebody through the smoke. Maybe wallbang them, but Harambe there. Now with the spike, now with the Outlaw watching the angle. 2v3.
All of a sudden, into 1v3. Rex moves in, and Harambe doing wonder work from this distance on the Outlaw. And this is Harambe just putting his hand in the air, saying, it's this simple, guys. It's this simple. And as if we didn't call it, Requiem going to be winning their thrifty second round.
Yeah, Bully just caught napping, and Jenny Wright was trying to get back into safe cover and didn't realize that Deck had just walked up all the way in A main. Seemed again that NXT were in the right positions at the right read, but just either poor timings with where they take fights, just a bit unlucky, or just caught napping a bit. Requiem continue this form of just being actual eco demons. It's just a consistent thing that seems to be happening in both cases.
Requiem quite calm, collected. A few smiles here and there. And so that's the thing we were talking about earlier, right? There's no pressure on them. Like, they're coming into this map carefree. Yeah, they lost one map, and now they're like, sure, let's give it a good old go. Let's give it a try. And coming into round 2, they show us how at ease they are. And a solid third round buy, by the way. Bulldog save from the previous round will be kept.
Recon dive from distance. I think that goes into like A main and wine. Gonna force those defenders away from playing those angles. Devo, only one with a rifle actually on this defense, and only one towards A. Just playing with a Guardian.
Yeah, Requiem haven't gained too much information. And they might be walking where NXT have most of their players waiting. Rex does die, so it creates an opening for Requiem. How do they react to this? They know there's 2 already close to this B site. Smoke dropped. And they're moving where Devo has shown himself before, a little bit further forward, though he's a bit noisy with it. Oh, dear me. It's a spray from Yanto to end up with the kill. I don't think Devo expected the drop there, so the A site is fully opened up for Requiem.
And the KO knife gets 2 in mid as well, so they have great information to work with and can afford to be a little bit pacier and even give the plan to specific players like Soren, not too far away from having a Hunter's Fury. You have time to give it to him.
Yanto looking to pad up the stats. Get that much quicker to the null command. Chanformer, though, is able to stop him at least for now. Vandal picked up, but will he be able to keep it? I think that's the question, especially with 6 bullets. And attackers approaching from all sides of the map. It's going to be Requiem to find the lead.
Now there's a full buy, and at least for NXT, they were hoping to have a bit of a bonus, but yeah, they're just going to have to deal with what they have. Devo getting the operator in hand, a lot of half armors, even a bulldog in cases and an Odin. So a lot of weaponry just missing for NXT here, or maybe some utility here or there. Similar default to the last, right? That you do have like more aggressive utility from the Cypher on B. The Omen KO looking to be taking and trying to fight in A main.
Dex in trouble. He's going to have to swing this. They don't peek him though. Oh, what? Rex gets a pre-fight pick onto Yanto instead. What?
I think he could have TP'd at that point. He was hit by the suppression of the KO knife, but I think at that point he could just TP. He's trying to just get them on an off angle. You'd expect that he's going to be facing and fighting in the corner of the KO molly. I quite like the idea, but it's just come down to a little bit of unluckiness again from Requiem in this case.
Well, it looks like Chatformer's cam spots out some movement out in in mid. What am I on about? Out in mid, and 2 players lurk out. I think only Toba was spotted, to be fair, though. So they don't know the extent at which it's carried. And still Max does great work with the Odin. I don't think he was off of any information either. He just shot his gun at the right moment. Sometimes you just have to get a little bit lucky. Toba, though, so aggressive. Chanformer in return as well, keeping the advantage well in the NXT camp. Chanformer spotted as well with a neural theft. Toba is in trouble.
It's great paranoia.
And Harambe all to himself to try and keep his gun alive and well, but no, NXT, only 1 casualty for them. As soon as they get guns in, they win the round.
He managed to pull it through. Had a little bit of help there with just some of the fights. Just the spray from the Odin, catching one. Pre-aiming the angle on A main, catching another. It has been the operator being lost from NXT. Devo's just on a rifle this time. A lot of half armor again. So here it was sort of like a bit of a bonus for Requiem. They still have a full buy here. They have 2 ultimates just on the horizon of being online. The big ones for the initiators. Now the Jet moving over towards A. KO Knife is just going to get information on where Deck is playing from. This default recon dart that's been coming through consistently should at least scare NXT from playing aggressively on A main, which they have been. They've not really tried to push too far out, but this time, looking to fight in mid. That's a great shot from Devo with the flash. And they saw where the spike was too in mid.
Destroyed. Cage triggered.
Well, the double hold up from Tree also be difficult to navigate here from Requiem. And without Yanto, it's going to have to be a dry peek as well, and the smoke won't be enough to cover the bullets from being thrown at them. And NXT are finding advantage after advantage, but the fact that Rex drops, it might be an opportunity for Requiem to move back in. They're actually aggressive really far forwards, together with Dex aggression. It might work off, but Bully finds a turn of an angle. It's actually Devo to find a lot of impact, but no. He will drop to Soren, allowing Bully to clean up, and it's NXT right back in charge.
Yeah, a lot of great fights for them. Requiem still managing a buy, maybe even forcing into this one a little bit. There's some Stingers, Guardians, a Sheriff in play. I'm not sure if they're sure what kind of buy that they want to work with, but good work from Devo. Just those fights to clear up. Some of them were just like 50-50 engagements. With just the fight in mid, that early aggression, Requiem sort of sent into a bit of a panic. But just how much this defensive default is putting utility towards A. It's really working to scare Requiem off. They try to up the ante there, but the operator's waiting.
Well, Devo has to drop back here. Respect Requiem's inward trajectory. And Deck actually goes a little bit further forward. Steps up, hugs the right-hand side wall. Devo caught off guard. An operator maybe to be ripped off NXT's hands, but instead, Deck looks to hold up even closer. He's the only rifle in play for Requiem here, but the Hunter's Fury as well as Toba's kill would cement Requiem on top. Rex looking to come in quickly because everything is unfolding in their opponent's favor. They don't like it one bit. Quickly looking to take them off guard. The Odin does damage, but it's not enough to finish off Yanto's life. And Soren, he's even hiding out in close proximity. The smoke hindering him, but still, Yanto to the back of sight done damage too, and NXT recovering at the final mark to double the score of Requiem.
It's a good bounce back. Like, everything's going well here for NXT at this point. Just the operator in a good position. You've been able to pick it up again here with Bully. But, like, you win the pistol, you lose the eco afterwards, but you're still getting those defensive rounds on the board. You don't want to give Requiem even a close side after attacking to go onto their defense.
That goes there.
Especially because you don't know some of the rounds that they like to do, but NXT, just this adjustment. Even now, there's been no timeout, there's been no reason to change yet. They're switching over to have the Cypher towards A. Maybe they're seeing that Yanto has that null command, putting all that Cypher utility on A, and having a Cypher play on B.
Well, smoke out early towards B main, indicating a bit of presence there. Devo aggressing very far forwards, no longer has the ability to dash out, so uses it right as it expires. Harambe himself using his dash early, hoping he can get an early kill.
You could have Hunter's Fury that as well, knowing
Sure.
that the Eldron was coming in from tiles.
Deep, oh, very deep, but Devo still able to get one and run back. Dash not required. Rex holding his ground out into the open, and it was a vital kill to get because losing your life there could allow Requiem to move in. But Devo, repositioned, is as strong as ever, and he's even got assistance to the sideline. Devo gets dropped, but it's still an NXT to be close to this, but only one to defend, and Rex is doing a lot to do damage. He's holding them back substantially, allowing his team to move in from behind where Requiem have turned their attention towards, and they themselves are low. Paranoia, not avoided by Soren. He thought he could get away with that, and it costs him his life. Deck alone. He's wearing a classy shirt, but can he make a classy at least, clutch?
He's got his ult, so he could teleport and get the spike.
He's got to get past Maxim though. Ooh, he might have been able to. No, there's no way he gets on the A site on time and he gets a spike as well, and I think he realizes that. So he goes around to try and get the kills instead, and that's NXT continuing their streak of success.
Yeah, save it for a better day. Devo's just absolutely demolishing with this operator. The read was good as well, just a null command play. You find that kill, you find that initial pick. Not afraid to challenge Requiem in these positions, and it's forced out. A good time out here. 4 rounds in a row lost. Pretty much it was after that eco and the anti-eco that Requiem got, but ever since it's been hard to get anything going.
I love that you mentioned Devo as a highlight player. He has been important, and I think Devo in his journey through the Northern European League, as well the Northern European region as a whole, since the start of Valorant esports, has been instrumental, right? If anybody remembers him back in the Goose House before Challengers North even existed as a league, then into Human Tripwires for Split 1, and then into London esports once it changed orgs, back into Human Tripwires, and then into E-Masters, and then again Human Tripwires, and it switched up teams again, it switched up names and organizations. It's back to NXT. He's had quite the journey in this region, and it's good to see him be quite relevant, not only relevant but prevalent here in this game. Only 22 years old, by the way. When he joined Challengers North, everybody thought him as a good and strong young prospect. Hasn't been able to show up in playoffs as much, and I think that's what he's
No ultimates and obviously no killjoy, so a lockdown on an execute isn't going to be possible. Ultra and Paranoia trying to create some space for these players on short. The tag goes in onto Bully, but it's all debate away from Devo, who's in his position. It is being watched, and the Paranoia was great that came in on the defense.
Wow! And it brings out the blades as well to make it look
Spike
extravagant.
down A.
Sure, sugarcoat it, why not? We don't mind.
Retrieve the spike.
Might as well add a cherry on top. Bully is there,
Cage triggered.
but Toba survives for just a little longer. At least he's got a spike in his hands, and with 2 players low, could be a chance, but Devo's holding that line, and no one's getting past him. Well, maybe a jiggle peek will get the better of him. But I think Toba's decided what he's going to do. He's just going to hold his ground, let NXT approach him, trying to see if he can get any picks, and then think
30 seconds left.
if there's a prospect in this round.
Even saving the gun might be a good option. It just doesn't feel like there's any opportunity to get in onto a site. 3 players on A, even the Silver
10
and Cypher
seconds left.
utility on B. Just NXT have been reading this defense so well. And even then, it was a good play from Requiem. Just the Owl drone to clear A main, the Paranoia to create space and shot to push up there. But that sort of one round, the one round where Requiem don't throw a recon dart into Wine is the round that they actually put a player in there on the defense. And Bully was just a great bit of bait, gets pinged by the Eldra and Paranoias, gets out, takes the attention away from Devo, who gets a nice couple of kills. He's going to go for more in mids.
Hasn't done much of mid yet. Oh, spotted once by the recon, realizes he's in a bit of a pickle. Dashes out, Harambe holding that same angle. Dashes back to safety himself. It's 2 rifles for Requiem, to be exact, and a difficult situation for them, risking falling further behind. A round where you don't expect much, but are hoping for at least something.
Well, the utility being used up already for Requiem, and they don't really have that much to work with in the first place. There's 4 players over towards A. B has pretty much been barren on this attacking side for Requiem outside of like round 3 or 4. Just means that the Cypher can sit back with just a camera and just play in Boathouse. Even mid isn't being contested from Requiem at this point. NXT just feels that they have the read to have 4 players over towards this site that they're executing on.
Trip has been spotted, at least. The Odin comes through, and it's Devo and Maxim that actually make good work of it. And it's the pistols that have fallen for Requiem. The players withholding rifles still maintain them. But a 2v4 is an upwards trajectory battle.
Great adjustment. Look at where the Cypher is in B main.
10 seconds
Yeah,
left.
Transformer can just wait and hide.
1 enemy remaining.
And then smile and wave
Spike down.
to the fallen bodies of Requiem. Bully He was, I'd say, safely bullying Toba there, and NXT just extend their lead.
I will say, like, you know, Devo's been doing great with the operator, 11-7 at the moment, but I think the thing that I like the most is when his dash is about to run out, when he's about to get pinged by, like, he doesn't overstay his welcome ever. Like, he makes sure to dash out, even if he wants to re-clear that position with the help of a recon dart, he's still, like, using his utility well to not get caught out from Requiem clearing. He's not getting greedy. He's playing so well of just getting one and getting out.
Sure.
Playing for information as much as just playing for the kills. Like here now, because he got caught by the recon last time, playing a little bit more passively.
A little bit late to realize the Outrunner was after him, but he does end up picking it up, as well as Harambe attempting to challenge him. And already NXT with the advantage. Requiem trying to take space, Candid over to him potentially, but he also got hit across the wall. Rex is able to find his mark into this game as well, and Devo's going to kill Toba as he pushes right in front of him. Requiem are determined to catch Devo off guard, but this man cannot be interrupted.
I wonder if that camera actually saw Toba trying to push up.
Here.
Devo's just going for more one by one. Requiem is just walking into him. Easiest game of his life.
Only world for deck. Look, this was also the round where Requiem invested heavily in, right? The previous round, yeah, you had a couple of hero rifles. You thought you could just try and do damage. Weren't successful in doing it, but you thought you had a chance on the next one when you had a full 5 stack of rifles.
Cover going out.
Think again. Especially when you try to challenge Devo one by one, seems to not be the strat. You can see it on the minimap, right? Right slap bang through the middle. Every time Devo got a kill, reposition, fell backwards. Got a kill, reposition, fell backwards.
10 seconds
And every
left.
time he ended up with a kill because Requiem wouldn't stop chasing.
Yeah. It's tough too because there's that element, I suppose, of like, yeah, sure, he's like re-peeking, he's re-clearing, but all of the positions that operator was in were like good fights for the op to be taking. It's not like you're overextending, It's not like you're pushing too much. It's more, if Harambe wants to be on this angle to fight me, he better hit his shots like there, right? Like, it's a hard fight for the attacking jet to take, and even there with the Cypher, the repositions, the off angles. I don't know if I believe this really for NXT.
I feel like last games as well, the timeouts from Requiem felt a bit off. I don't know. I don't think it's a HUD issue, but yeah, a timeout was brought out from them. I wonder why. Might be an off-server related thing. But yeah, I feel you can instantly feel the difference between Transformer being on the server and not, right? I remember their match last week. Who was it against? Let me check.
Requiem?
No, NXT's match.
Oh, NXT was Metasport.
Metasport, right? They felt off. They felt shaky. They didn't know what they were doing. Transformer kind of gives them a bit of extra confidence, and it definitely shows.
Yeah, I mean, he's the IGL as well, so
yeah,
it's fair to say that NXT looked a bit lost without him. And not to say that Wislight didn't do like a good job. It's just it's hard to replace the person that's calling a lot of those rounds.
It's a lot of difference. And NXT's individuals can focus on doing their own thing, let another player do the thinking. Wow! That was lightning fast from Harambe. It took a breath. She processed what happened there. But Devo finally shut down. Can Requiem pull off the win off the back of it?
It's a trip in mid now too. Wasn't there beforehand. Look at this pusher from NXT. 2 in A main, taking all of this information. Allows these last 2 surviving members over on the B side to like hold fast a bit more. Requiem have loved to do these like short executes, so clearing A main is a great position for NXT to play on, but it looks like this is going to be a B split.
It is indeed. Now they've got to make sure Transformer can't shoot from his angle. He's been paranoid, but I don't think how much of it affected him. Maxim to the back of his side, and Harambe to try and go for the chase. He already got one kill. Transformer snuck by in the smoke.
Oh,
the
Yanto
information
heard him.
relayed over to Yanto, and he sprays across towards him. Now NXT are left with 2 players. They've got economy for days, so I wouldn't be surprised if they try and attempt this. But Harambe will just spray in their approximate direction. It leaves Rex to himself. Harambe is feeling it, making it a triple overall, a flawless round to get them right back in the game, but also mentally.
Yeah, I mean, interesting timeout for NXT that's given Requiem a way back in, it feels like. Just Devo being caught out for the first time, and seemingly Harambe goes for a good duel, and the rest of the round plays out really nicely from Requiem. Like, their mid-rounds, their calling, their adjustments are good, but NXT, they got great information. It's just unfortunate for them. They pushed A main, they got good info, but it was a B execute, and they were spread out, and they were a player down. Yanto does well that round as well, like gets the fight in boathouse, goes for stairs, even hears the player trying to crunch on him and just takes that duel, just spraying with the Guardian, manages to catch him. It looks like 3 players are going to push through shot on his defense, it looks like.
It also feels that NXT aren't taking chances and playing individually anymore, sort of grouping them up and see if they have a better chance to take these trades. It might be for good reason. Dash away from Harambe was heroic, and he goes even further forwards. The Cloudburst, sort of an obfuscation of what they're trying to do. They actually stick in place. Maxim looking to do damage with the Odin's, getting very close to it, but Devo ends up dropping. Harambe is looking to take the charge to be the better duelist out of the 2. Rex holding the ground, but Deck is able to pre-fire through the wall, and Transformer's left alone. They're going right after him. It's the best case scenario for Transformer if he can afford a spray down to kill most of these players, but he's only good for 2, and make that 1 actually as Yanto couldn't be brought right back to life. And it's Requiem to get themselves a final round of the half, closing it out at 8-4.
Yeah, if this ends up getting closer, it's similar to Icebox with Requiem's timeouts, right? You look back at them and go, well, if you didn't take that timeout there, might not have felt like it costed you. And it's the same case here for NXT. They're 8-2 up, they take a timeout. They've won 7 rounds in a row and they take a timeout. It's definitely like questionable.
Yeah.
There's usually a reason, whatever it might be. It's definitely a good thing to ask for the next interview when we get them. But for NXT, 3 pistols so far, 3 wins. Can they make it 4 for 4 here? Looking like they're going to be going for like a B execute, but might be fighting mid aggressively. But Requiem are over there too.
I mean, it's about time Requiem pick up a pistol win, and it's one they need quite desperately. They could allow NXT to run away with it if they themselves are the victors. Harambe not forced to shoot his gun just yet. Yeah, but he's just hiding out. He's chilling. He knows he's going to have to be challenged. Good Aldrin spots out 3, and it looks like there's going to be a quick collapse out from Market as well. This is mighty fast, but Requiem come out on top still. Maxim able to trade back, but subsides the paranoia. Goes even deeper, but the smoke will cover him. What Maxim will do will be super tough, especially given that there's a second player in play. And oh my word, I think you can just call it off, because Maxim with 20 points of health can't do all that much. Might as well get closer to Hunter's Fury. Picks up a share of 50 seconds. He's got a second to breathe at least.
Revealing area.
Look onto the sky. Trying to see if there's anyone close by, but it's a high-low setup for Requiem. Not much can go wrong about this. Only if Maxim ends up being ruthlessly lucky. It's Deck to swing, and it's Deck to get the win as well. Requiem finally win their first pistol of the series.
And it was still another great pistol from NXT. I don't know whether it was part of the plan to have Maxim just be there as live bait over by like Ticket. It pulls those B defenders into B main to go aggressive, to go for that fight. They get all hit by a paranoia and then crunched on. It's a surprise that Requiem are able to win the fights. There's just so many players there. And finally getting on the board here. Pretty much since the NXT timeout, it's been all rounds from Requiem.
Revealing area.
It won't be too long until they've potentially clawed this one back.
Camera taken out.
Rex and Devo have got a couple of sheriffs going on for them. Can't count them out just yet, especially if they get a good read on what NXT and if what Requiem and the setup looks like. Give them a couple picks and things can transpire quite quickly out of control. We speak of experience here,
Right
everybody. We've seen
Man,
it
gamble
before.
this well. Going on the site where there's no site for utility, but the rotation is going to come in. Recon Dark clearing close. You have got a player on lanes. Devo actually catches Harambe completely by surprise. He didn't realize what was going on.
Soren, though, is able to approach and back out of the fight quick enough, but Maxim deals with the auto, and so does Transformer. All of a sudden, this is doable by NXT, and Devo is here to stay. Oh, dear me. Requiem are shaking where they stand.
30 seconds
Deck is wondering what on earth went wrong. His team disappeared into thin air, into dust. I'm scared, Mr. Stark. Deck all by himself, and all he has to do is just save that rifle, don't hand it over to NXT, and make wonders for their economy. This round is over. And I feel this is the second time this series, 4th overall, maybe even 5th, that we see a thrifty workout.
Roles reversed though, isn't it? It's usually Requiem that are winning it out, but NXT giving them a taste of their own medicine.
Absolutely. Showing them who's boss and what top form for NXT looks like. Well, there's a couple of players, but nothing much to lose. They didn't start with anything, or much at least. We've got a series on our hands.
It was a good call. It was. I don't know how much of it was whether NXT knew that Requiem had that Cypher stuff over towards A. Because if they went over to A to begin with to get the orb, maybe they had the camera, maybe they like got close enough to hit trips. It just meant it was an open B site. And like the defensive positions weren't great, the rotations were still coming in, and Harambe, like I said, just didn't realize what was happening. Stood in market watching towards mid. Door wide open, he gets taken out by the side of his head.
Good shot by Transformer to cleanly open things up for NXT. I'd say cleanly, but it wasn't really. It takes 80 points of health to find the first frag, and Toba getting the kill onto Rex makes this somewhat questionable. Though NXT have gotten A-site control, and with more picks going their way,
Spike planted.
Transformer.
looking simpler by the second.
Just stopped for a second out in the open, and Toba's looking to go for a kill off the flash. It's great, but it's traded.
Player standing.
And they can't afford trades, mere trades at least. Transformer is enjoying the outlaw life, and NXT have doubled Requiem score, and on to double digits they go.
It's a good call from NXT. I feel like I'm just glazing him a little bit, but
Sure.
like Requiem try to go like aggressive on B main. You've got Transformer in a position where you can just get a fight, get out. But NXT, they go A main quickly. They just go for an execute. If there are 3 people pushing us on B, it means that there's only 2 on A. But they still use the Aldrone. They check that there's a trip. They make sure that the Aldrone is done. They shocked out the trip whilst everybody else starts to execute. NXT looking a little bit cleaner on some of these like anti-ecos. They're not going to get caught out here, not on their map pick. And they retain the lead by a healthy margin now that the full buys are out. Winning this map, winning this round even, could be this series very easily.
Could be. Let's see if they can make it work. Hunter's Fury available for Maxim. Couple of, well, 1 point away from Blaystorm for Devo. Not that we'll see it being brought out likely here, but an aggression play from him, moving into his own cloud burst. And drops below to shut down Deck. This is clean. This is very clean. And even though Requiem had most of their players on that defense, it mattered naught. Toba alone. And I think his fate is written. Not in stone, though, as he looks to rewrite that fate.
This late
3 are
lurk too.
required. Yeah, makes the endeavor just a tad more difficult. Oh, it's going to be a knife, isn't it? It's going to be a knife. They're waiting for Transformer to approach. Oh, Transformer felt like he didn't want to risk it. And, yeah, wise. Losing an extra rifle there could be damaging if an incredible comeback from Requiem was to be in play. But you can see the smiles, the giggles, the energy. It's there.
Yeah, it's working again, you know. Like, it was Bully that we spoke to after they beat Formulation, and you could sort of, like, it was contagious, like, the energy, I suppose, that he had, like, about the team, because we've known Human Tripwires a while, like, they were bottom of the league, they got signs, took a while to get stuff going, but then made a last-ditch attempt for playoffs. You sort of felt like this stage, now that they're signed, now that there's more time, can be a lot better, but it hasn't been. So a 13-5 win here on this map and a 2-0 win against Requiem would be a statement that they are properly back. Not missing players, not up against the sweet and sours and apexes of the league. For Requiem, however, bit of a sobering series to play, but there's still more to play for. But they have to make this sort of weaker lower bye work. And it's
And
a
it seems
force
the way they
too.
want to make it work is by being a little bit more agile. You could see early on around that 1 minute mark, 1 minute 10-second mark, you still had all like 4 players close to spawn near B, quick to rotate to where it was required, especially with deck deep on A. They sort of have quick info to their exposal. But for now, the focus is B, and it's for good measure. Quick rotation, Sorin trying to make the Guardian work, but it cannot find the damage it looks for. Devo looking to push through, touched by the trip, and Harambe will be able to use a spray to put Requiem on top. And NXT looking to move in without their duelists, and they won't be able to break through.
Okay.
Requiem have got a wall that they used to blockade NXT's entry, and NXT just hit their heads right on it.
And you hit the nail on the head as well, Pavlos, with just saying, like, you have the Jet that's pushed up all the way towards Arches. You've got the Omen that's deep in A main and Wine, KO, like, by short. And then the Solver and Scythe with all that utility set up on B. They had all of the information. Nobody really needed to rotate. Everything was set up, and it felt like checkmate as soon as NXT tried to execute onto the site. So there is still hope here, but there is still money in the bank for NXT, and now Ultimates are starting to come online too.
We've seen more difficult comebacks take place, right? We're definitely not counting Requiem out of this conversation, but it's a long way to go and a long way to not make any mistakes. Bully to the back of the site, spots Harambe, and Maxim uses that information to finish him off with his Hunter's Fury deck. To the back of it,
nice
Bully though,
peek.
is able to keep deck busy. And just like that, NXT have taken full control. Bully might even consider going a little bit further inwards as well. There's a smoke for him to enter if he wants to, and I think that's exactly what he's going to do. Oh, never mind. Drops back. No risk necessary. But the null command, very necessary. Requiem need to act quickly, and they need to act now. Running out of funds, running out of time, running out of rifles and players. Toba looks to lead the entry. First kill goes to them. Bully quickly to trade and gets right back into cover. Doesn't want to overextend his welcome. Sorin is low. Eventually take down. The captain of Requiem is left, but for no avail, cannot do a thing. It's Bully with the Quadra, and it's going to be NXT 1 round away from closing out this series.
That's a really nice round. The Hunter's Fury, the Omen, like from the shadows to TP into aggressive position. And then as soon as Devo dashes on the site with the smoke, that's when Bully peeks from heaven to catch a player that's watching the angle. Like, it's nice, like little tiki-taka play. Requiem, their final timeout might be the final round if they're not careful. They still have a bye, as you're seeing. But when it comes to Ultimates, nothing here to really work on. There's still that null command from NXT. It could get, you know, pretty freaky with how they want to play this and see potentially what Requiem might have in the bank still.
You can still see there's low pressure for Requiem. Like, they've done a solid job to be ahead so far. Smiles aren't going to leave them. Harambe entering leisure mode. Zen mode, rather. We need to come up with a better name with it. I'm not happy with it. But yeah, battle mode is one of them. We need to figure out the second one as he takes a few seconds to breathe. Very necessary also if you want to perform a comeback. I believe they do have the economy to extend into another bye here, Ryan.
Yeah.
And let's see if they give it a go.
Only just taking as much of a clear moment as you could take, but looking at like Devo 23 and 13, that switch around with the roles with Rex has been inspired. It's worked out so well. Harambe, top kills on his team so far, trying to go for the aggressive DRX play, but it is just him alone. Sova wants to try and help for B main, but NXT have just slowly walked their way back out of this.
Right here.
We can see how NXT is a little bit wary of the situation. Not quite certain that Air Requiem have cleared out the air premises, and instead wrapped into mid, which is a wise thing to do, given NXT have got their eyes set on it.
Still haven't cleared where this jet is, though. Good supportive play from Requiem to make sure that Aldron has to get cancelled early, so Harambe in his position. Really scary spot.
Cheeky boy. This could actually turn this entire round
Here.
in Requiem's favor.
NXT made a good call, though. Just not bothering with it. They're just not sure. A lot of utilities being used towards mid from the defenders, so clearly something's off.
B site held. And Sorin looking to approach, all up into the smoke and into logs. Harambe shows his presence. Rex might be able to survive if someone comes to resurrect, but no. Instead, he's left to his own devices as Sorin holds down this B site. Definitely struggling to enter. NXT not finding any luck with any picks, but Transformer could turn it around. No. Only good for one before he drops, and Requiem are amped up to try and make this retake and comeback happen.
The only problem for Requiem is that it's hard to do that kind of thing again. Like Harambe goes for the aggression in mid, NXT do nice to just not deal with it at all. Try to reclaim it, they can't. They sort of know that Requiem are dedicating a lot of util. Maybe Harambe was still there. But it's these like mid to late rounds, especially if NXT want to go towards B, when you have all of that Cypher stuff set up, you have 3 players rotated over there, it becomes almost impenetrable to get in. So what are NXT going to do with this like buy that they have available? Just going towards A, and immediately to catch Toba just out in no man's land.
They do indeed. And Requiem now might be in trouble. NXT, all they need to do is grab one round and that's it. Well, Requiem required to make 5 work and they don't have any second chances. They're already a map down. Harambe, beautiful updraft and Bladestorm use. Now drops below to try and grab Devo. Successful in doing so. 2v3, Requiem on the back foot, but still doable. Because both on site and they're holding hands. And they've got a smoke to hide within. Sorin tries to use the shutdown in a desperate fashion, but it's NXT to shut down Requiem in their series 2-0.
And it was a shutdown. We needed NXT to sort of bounce back, to have a strong series. It was always going to be a bit of a tough day. At least it was going to feel that way. Even just from the first map, you win both the pistols, do NXT, and it still goes to OT. And maybe in some cases, NXT should have lost that map of Icebox. But here, it was dominant all the way through. Winning 50s, winning pistols, winning important clutches. For NXT, it's been a horrible couple of weeks. You've played up against some of the best teams in the region with Apex and Sweet and Sour. Then you have to have a sub in Free IGL up against a weak Metasport team that you end up losing against. So going and winning against Requiem and winning 2-0 is massive for their playoff chances. For Requiem, it's still good. There's still a strong chance to bounce back when you've got like a Pina Orchestra and OnlyFins still yet to play. But for Requiem, they had like this one chance and at least they made it count.
They did. They absolutely did. Bravo to NXT. We wanted to see more of them, right? We've been rooting for them since the start of the season. They've had mishaps, having a really tough schedule. We were considering Metasport, the match against Metasport would have been their chance to show a win. Again, didn't work out because their IGL was missing, and now they got the win against Requiem, a really strong roster that seems to be impressing everybody, but now finally forced to push those breaks. We'll be back after a short break with an interview. Don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be breaking down the series in a bit.
I've been giving you the worst of me. Now you wanna stay the night. Pretty how you work hard for me, but forgetting how to talk. Nah, I don't like no humble beats. Just go and slice it up. Now it's time to marinate. And right go with a wide mouth. Just like it when you're looking like it. No sweets, no rush. Can't fight my attraction. Don't think twice, I'm here for a moment. No, I like him better. I got a church place somewhere and I'll make it last forever. I've been giving you the worst of me. Now you wanna stay the night. Pretty how you work hard for me. Why forgetting how to talk? Now I don't like no humble beats. Just go and suss it up. Now it's time to marinate. And right after we're done, I've been giving you the worst of me. Give me a second, let me do weapon. I'm no vegan, a bee. I'm off the leash. Go down on your knees. Bitch, I got PhD. I'm all that you need. You just give me. I've been giving you the worst of me. Now you wanna stay the night. Pity how you work hard for me. Why forgetting how to talk? Now I don't like no humble beats. Just go and suss it up. Now it's time to marinate. And right after we're done, it's done. Pigs are mostly kept as pets, though many breeds are capable of surviving on their own, whether it's in a forest or city streets. A third of our households worldwide have a pig. This makes the domestic pig the most popular pet on the planet.
It's about time we saw NXT pop off, and they've done it against Requiem, an up-and-coming roster, the new addition to this league. And let's say they've done it in a determined fashion, taking only 2 maps to succeed in their endeavor.
Yeah, I think this is, if you're an NXT fan, this is what you needed to see, really. Like, the chances, I think, of making playoffs when you've got, like easy, not easy to win series, but you've got the likes of, like, Formulation Gaming coming up, which you can definitely sort of beat and play up against. Sorry, Appeal Orchestra and OnlyFins. Keep switching them around in my head. But it's, for NXT, it's being able to, like, make the small adjustments in the case of, like, changing the roles on Ascent, which worked wonders. Like, Devo did so much work on the Jet, and Rex in that sort of, like, flex KO position did a lot, but it was just a good read. It was just good team play pretty much across the whole squad for NXT today. And Requiem starting to show a couple of maps that they don't feel like they're competing as much against the other tier 2 teams.
That's fair to say. That's fair to say, and I'm glad we actually saw them compete and now have a chance to play for playoffs as well. That's definitely what we've been considering as a proving factor. But Devo showing up is definitely the highlight for me. Seeing this guy play throughout the Northern European League ever since its inception and tournaments were going around the region, seeing him perform and now showing up in this factor shows that he still has it in him. And I really hope that he makes it to higher levels of play. And I hope this roster can help him achieve that as well.
For sure, yeah. And, like, I'm excited to see both these teams, really. Like, I was a bit worried with, like, NXT, like, that should they win the first week, and then you just have this sort of red road of results. Like, yeah, you lose against Apex, you lose against Sweet and Sour. That Metasport loss, it's an unfortunate one. Like, it's sort of out of your hands a little bit. So I was worried that that would continue going up against a really strong, in-form looking Requiem. So the bounce back, being able to, like, play the Jet Reyna comp on Icebox and be able to win, and then also here, like, making this map pick work for you as well as it did. Like, it's a great sign for NXT for the rest of this stage, and maybe for the future of, like, playoffs and play-ins for Ascension.
That's fair enough, but I do hear word that we've got an interview ready for your folks, and it's Bully that will be joining us. It's your second win this season, the second time you're joining us for an interview, Bully. It's great to have you here, but look, man, how does it feel? You finally get a win. What's that like for you guys again?
It was good. After losing to Mesport, like personally, I was really down in the dumps because they got 2 new players. Even though we're just sub, I had high expectations for that game, and losing that really like was like a kick in the butt. I was like, I need to step up and improve myself, and the team needs to improve, and that's kind of what we did. But this win is really good for us. I'm really happy. This loss would have been dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, that's the main thing. Like I was going to say, because we spoke to you in the first week, right? You said like you've got signed to NXT, like the time that you've been putting in, like the extra effort has been a big one. Then you have like Apex and Sweet and Sour. You take a map off of Sweet and Sour, and you could have definitely won that series as well. And then that Metasport like loss. Like, how did you manage to sort of come back from that, really? Because, you know, it's a scary team to be playing Requiem. They've been playing really well so far this stage. So how were you guys able to like bounce back from a rough couple of series and a rough couple of weeks to do as well as you did today?
Oh, it took a lot of like everyone did like a lot of personal review, like went to their own time and like actually improved themselves. We took like a couple days off. It was like 2 or 3 days off, so everyone can improve on themselves and actually like look at their own mistakes and see what's going on with themselves. We come back to prac. First couple of days was rough, but eventually towards the end of the week we brought it back and we started showing our old self and what we can actually do as a team, and like we can actually win.
That's fair enough. Obviously, there were a couple moments that we got a little bit scared for you in the series, whether that's map 1, map number 2. The most prevalent one that I remember was map number 2, when you guys called a timeout and Requiem started to build up momentum and started bringing up some sort of an idea of a comeback at least. What was the idea behind that timeout?
Raymond just had to read. He saw that there were gaps in their mid play, and he just wanted us to abuse it as much as possible. Like we were 8-2 up. We believed that with this we could like, obviously there is like momentum issues when it comes to taking those timeouts, but like we don't mind it. Like we take the risk as long as we can get like a weakness. We want to like use that as much as we can, and that's what Raymond was trying to do.
Yeah, I think for you guys now, I mean, like your last couple of series, I think you've got like OnlyFins, who have obviously been like in playoffs last time, and then the P-Orchesterary. Like with the map changes coming through, like you guys typically ban out Breeze anyways. That's not too much of an issue. Like, what's it kind of like when it's coming to like adjusting to that? Because like from my experience, what I've seen, like it's hard to get like split scrims, right, and Breeze scrims, because everybody's starting to move on to trying to do Haven and Abyss stuff. So like, how has that adjustment been for you? And also like playing on like tournament client, otherwise you're running into like new ISO and new Reina and stuff like that. Like, it probably makes it a bit difficult in a region like EMEA where everybody's playing on like different patches and stuff.
To be fair, we haven't experienced like any issues like that recently where it comes to like different patches. I think that might be an issue in the future, and that's just like something we have to like deal with when we get to it. But I think after this game, it's gonna be like a live client with Haven and stuff. So I think we should be fine when it comes to like cracking the new patches and stuff like that.
I think you're not gonna have. You're gonna have to split a bit longer, but Breeze gets taken out and Haven brought in, so it's even better for you guys, right? Your permaban's gone. You can start banning out like whatever you want now. So yeah, I guess the big thing, the other thing as well, is like swapping Devo for Rex on Ascent, like the roles and stuff. Like, what was the inspiration for that, really? Was it just like you felt it wasn't working on Ascent before when you played up against Apex, or was it just like you tried it and it worked in scrims and it was like, might as well keep running with this?
This was
great op in Devo.
Oh yeah, this was a decision that was made between Devo and Rex in their own time. They were speaking and they were like, I think it's best that they swap roles, because Devo felt like he wasn't getting value and Rex felt like this initiator like flex playstyle might be better suited for him. So since he believes he can set people up better and actually like he's more of a methodical player, where Devo, he'll dive in for whatever, like for no reason, like he'll dive in and kill everyone, and that's why I also personally believe this is a good swap as well.
Smart choices, definitely shown in this game. I don't want to hold you for too long, though, Bully. It's been great hearing from you again. Hopefully we hear from you again other times. Your next wins. You've got another game against a P-Orchesterary and OnlyFins, other games as well left in the season. Just quickly, those were the teams that you were kind of fighting with at the end to see if you could actually gain that final spot into playoffs. Do you think you can be a bit better than this time around?
OnlyFins, we beat them last time, and I think we can beat them this time, because they're looking good, but they're looking kind of shaky at times. They look like they can crumble and lose advantages and stuff like that. We've seen many 9-3 curses from them, and I believe like if we can fix up and make sure we can control this like momentum and know what we're playing, then I think we'll storm through them. And when it comes to Apina, I want to get revenge. Last split was a disaster that we lost to them like this. I think this split, we can show a better version of ourselves and actually like beat them and get into play-ins and get into playoffs like we intended to originally.
We'll make sure we quote you. Last time it was a disaster. This time we're getting revenge. It will be on broadcast, mate. It will be on broadcast.
Oh no.
Cheers for that. Cheers for that, man. Thanks for the interview and have a lovely evening.
You too, man.
What an awesome time to always have Bully on the broadcast. Solid performance, but it was more of a team performance, really, this time around from NXT, don't you think, Ryan?
Yeah. I think like the whole team sort of played well, and it's such a risk with what Bully said. Like, yeah, like Rex being put on more of like a cerebral like flex role, but like when Rex has been like top 5 ACS performance so far this stage, when it's been a really rough stage so far for NXT, that could be like your win condition that you're taking off that role. But he's right, like Devo was really good on that duelist role, really good with the operator, was being aggressive and not being afraid to be the entry, but also he took smart fights at the same time, and Rex still had the impact that he'd usually have. So it was, yeah, an inspired choice, and it does sound like it's going to be the choice for other maps in the future too. So your Lotuses and stuff like that, we'll have to see.
We'll have to see indeed. Ryan, okay, that was our first match of the week, right? There's still plenty to go. I'm just trying to catch a feeler from you where you stand in regards to the maps coming up, right? The series coming up. Look, we've had NXT versus Requiem. We knew it was going to be a banger, but we've also got the finals of last split reincarnate tomorrow, and also finish derbies. I feel like this is a stack week, man.
It is, yeah, but like with what Bully just said about like OnlyFins looking a little bit shakier, I'd probably say the same about like Sweet and Sour and stuff.
Sure.
Like Metasport formulation, I think they're still a bit up in the air on how they're playing. And Apina Orchestra, it feels a bit of a Jekyll and Hyde team that sometimes they could be amazing with great reads, and then sometimes they're their own like worst enemy, right? With overcooking strategies or just changing stuff for the sake of changing it. So it is like an open market, I suppose, for teams to be making top 4 and making playoffs, really.
Yeah, it always feels like the performance is a wave, and you got to make sure you're at the peak of that wave when in the games that matter. Right, yeah. So we'll see how these teams balance that performance, being able to spread their resources thin and wide however they need to. Right, it's a long season, it's a split number 2 after all, and it's still playoffs they need to fight for. But playoffs is far from being decided. Still, we're going to make sure how things will happen. But we have said that what will come next week. We have said that tomorrow is a huge match that you don't want to miss, and there are other things that you don't want to miss, and you need to make sure that you follow our socials to make sure that doesn't happen either. So that's it from us, everybody. Ryan, any final words before we close down today's stream?
No, I'm just sort of excited for this like week, and just honestly, I'm really excited to see Haven come back. Like, at least for the next cast, we'll potentially have that. So at least this week, we've got some great games to finish out on this map pool with.
Well, let's see if Haven comes into play for the rest of the week. Thank you, folks, for joining us this evening, and hope to see you again tomorrow.
Last player standing. Ace.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Ooh, look what you done. Took a living woman and turned her into stone. I guess I should be thankful. You gone cause you chew with your mouth full. You, I should've run once I figured out that you can't work your tongue. I guess I should be grateful. You're gone, I mean that shit was painful. Like I said, I'm really glad you're gone, but I'm sad to see what I've become. I was burning like a girl on fire, then you came around and put